outside. Might as well turn up the competition inside as well, right? And as I keep saying,
Entertain us.
as I keep saying, I think we've been seeing some changes now. Aggressive way of playing is actually works, and it is what the team has been trying to do in the first group, and I think that's the only way to do it now, since Group B have some dangerous teams in it as well. So.
Yeah, I think what we would expect, especially this is second half of our day number 1, because they've seen a lot of tactics already. They've watched, they stalked a lot of teams right now. So they can get more of those strategies on their own, especially if it's in tune with their own personality. And that's what we would expect right now, especially with those, as you mentioned, Gun Dynasty. Who doesn't want to be on the top of the board, like doesn't care about getting booyahs yet, because it's just day number 1. You don't need that for the like compared to Champion Rush, so you can go with that kind of approach and then rest towards the second half.
Okay, well, it's time to see if Group B is gonna be top heavy or if we're gonna be seeing something different that we haven't seen yet. Group B, Free Fire at EWC 26 starts now.
Our teams have now had a chance to compete right here on the Garena City grid. And there's plenty more where that came from, Looting.
Yeah, of course, 40 ace players just waiting in the backstage now, and they're counting down the time, the moment, until they can finally get their hands on the game.
Oh, well, let me take this opportunity to remind you that this is your chance to instill the fear of combat into your opponents. Don't hold back, don't hesitate, and trust in your teammates.
Yeah, and as we saw in the first group, like, there is few surprise, but most of the time the favorites just have made strong start to the tournament. It will be maybe the same on Group B. I mean, we will find out in a few minutes now. So please, ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome our teams, starting with Miyako!
Ellie.
Al Ahly Esports!
Total Gaming Esports IQ!
Straw Hats Esports!
Lion!
S8UL Esports!
MIBR Lost!
Team Vitality!
Team RRQ!
Twisted Minds!
Team Secret!
And finally, Fluxo W7M! This is where your journey begins. You decide whether you dominate or whether you simply survive. This is Free Fire at the Esports World Cup.
And which team will come out on top in this Group B? Hey, you know what? It's time to find out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Esports World Cup Free Fire 2026 here in Paris, France. We made it, Lucifer. We have made it. My name is Husky, of course, joined by Lucifer on the desk, and we will have 6 more games coming up. This time with the teams from Group B, a group with a lot of second places, a lot of podium finishes, but never at the top, a lot of second place curses, a lot of redemption arc waiting to be reignited again.
I really like that we're going to be casting this group, especially because everybody's got to prove themselves. That's the main impact of this group. Compared to our Group A, where we saw the group of death, the most difficult group, the toughest of the teams, and you could see it's already top heavy. But I think this is the group, Group B, 6 games, where anything can happen. Everybody has a chance. Yes, Fluxo is one of the favorites, and they are roaring with their fans right here. And on top of it, RRQ, they're somebody who's looking forward to get themselves on the board and not choke.
Yeah, if you want to look at a lobby with teams that have known heartbreak more than anyone else,
exactly,
this is the lobby. This is the group. Fluxo, last year in Jakarta in the Global Finals 2025, second place for both categories, both ripped away by Thai teams, AGAL in Clash Squad, BRU in the Battle Royale after breaking the streak for 2 years straight. RRQ, same thing, EWC 25, 3 chances, and they dropped all of it. Recently in the Spring Clash Squad, same thing, came in second. Global Finals 24, they came in second again. So many storylines that they're waiting to complete, and I think this is a very good litmus test for us to find out who has the upper hand, who came in more prepared than everyone else.
And on top of it, like, Fluxo are trying to get to their winning ways. I think what Team Secret did, just in the recent SEA finals that we ended up seeing for Spring, they took it in a storm. They became the champions, and nobody could believe what just happened. I think they are going to be looking forward to replicate that here, because this is Vietnam coming here for EWC. They missed out last year. They want to make sure that this 26 season is something that they can be able to prove, along with, as we mentioned, right, Group A already being the most difficult group. Here there's an opportunity for the South Asian team, something that we did not see a lot in Group A. They missed out their opportunities. It was a very tough lobby out there. They couldn't get out from the bottom 6, but I think here there's a wild chance for the Bangladeshi teams, for the Indian squads, all going up the ranks.
Hey, we have Seoul, we have Straw Hats. I think TG is in here. Total Gaming is here as well. I personally, if you ask me, I'm looking at Latin teams, right? I am looking at both MIBR Lost and Lion, especially Lion, because this is a team that has members, has players from Rainbow 7 back in FFW 2025, and one of my favorite sniper players out there, Games King. Young player, young prodigy from the region. He has made a promise that he's going to be the one that goes on that big stage. He gave us quite the performance last year on that global stage, but it wasn't enough to close things out. Now he gets a second chance here.
And I think I agree with you. I think Lion are a team to watch out for everybody else, the 12 lot, 11 lot. And if they don't, he might be a menace in the lobby in its entirety. The other survivors will have a very tough battle to go through. But I think it is another opportunity for young guns. When you already spoke about it, SHUL Esports, they are the guns that are looking forward to prove on a global stage. They've been very aggressive in the Indian lobbies. They've been known as the underdogs, and now they're looking forward to prove in such a stage as here. I hope that aggressiveness right out of the game number 1, like how we ended up seeing Loud, is out here from SHUL.
Yeah, and if you talk about young guns and aggressive players, right, we have people from Fluxo who have also had quite the journey. Even before they were Fluxo, they won their first trophy back in 2020. People from Fluxo who have also had quite the journey. Even before they were Fluxo, they won their first trophy back in the journey. Even before they were Fluxo, they won their first trophy back in 2022, and then they did it again the year after under the banner of Fluxo with only one minor change to the roster in the sniper role, right? But this
who nobody in that SEA Grand Finals thought would be possible. Back-to-back booyahs, and something that Fluxo right now can do it for themselves. I think right now everybody is looking and gearing for them, because they've been roaring from the very start. Even before we ended Group A, that was one noise that we heard from the very start and from the very beginning. And I think when we talk about the beginnings of all things, I think I want to talk about Total Gaming as well. This is a squad from India that have been the biggest in terms of names for Free Fire, and they want to prove on the global stage. They have certain recent changes that they're trying to test the grounds itself, and now that they're on an international stage, they would rightfully want to prove their decades of experience right here, right now.
Even for me, it's a very exciting time, because it's not technically not the first time we've seen teams from South Asia and India compete in a regional or international stage. We actually saw it for the first time back in 2022, and it's been a long time coming, right? Like sort of have the same journey as the Aurora Gaming from Malaysia, where it took 4 years since the last appearance on an international stage. So I think, you know, this really goes back to how much they can make use of the unpredictability of this group, right? I think with how volatile Group B is, it is very easy to blow the gates wide open and take that lead. But our experts actually also talked about RRQ's young star runs, right? Conchita mentioned it earlier on. This is someone that has been on my radar for a while. In Clash Squad, phenomenal performance. I think taking over the reins of Abai in that playmaker role has really suited him very well. But like she mentioned, this is also the true test. Can he kind of deal with the pressure, right? Or will he fold?
We will kind of see how it goes for the side of RRQ, mainly because even I was having a chat with Neptune yesterday, depending on what RRQ keep making changes up. They're very adaptable in their play style. And Maal, right? He's been the main man. Who everybody thinks is going to fight from afar, but all of a sudden he's right in front of your face. So things like that, strategies coming out, could be something that we see especially in this group, where we saw Group A had dedicated stuff that they were doing, whether it be the support players, whether it be the rushers or the snipers. They were those specific roles, but in Group B, a lot can change because we have teams who want to prove themselves. Al Ali itself, them here on this stage, they want to prove themselves from MENA, and now here on EWC 2026 Paris, they want to make sure that they are one of the ones in the top 4, especially because it's cutthroat, right? If you don't be at the top 4, you have to go to the survival stage, and if you don't stay in the top 8, sorry, the top 10, you're out of the tournament tomorrow.
It's insane because you look at survival stage, there's an extra 10 games you have to play, right? You play 12 in the group stage, and if you perform good enough, you skip that 10 games. You get the prep for the grand finals. If not, you go to another group of 10 games, and then we have an uncapped grand finals with a 90-point threshold to even have a chance of winning everything. I think at the end of the day, I personally want to see some of these regions, these unproven regions, give us something to smile about, right? Last year, Dragon Esports has proven that in Riyadh. Sure, there were some shortcomings we did discuss on broadcast at that point of time. They're not the best when it comes to gunfights, but one thing that they excelled in is reading the circle. They are making smarter choices, better rotations, and more crisp macro manipulations to outsmart teams like BRU, like Falcons, like Fluxo, and that's why they were even top 6 in the first place. So I think if we can find some of the talents in this pool of Group B teams, it is going to be a very, very interesting day.
It is, and when you say about the smart choices, right, I want to talk about Team Vitality in the Asia Invitational that we right now had. They became the champions, right? They took it away from Team Apex Gaming. Team Apex Gaming had almost an opportunity. KD goes right up on the roof. If that worked out, maybe in the Asia Invitational, we ended up seeing Team Apex Gaming and India getting a crown just before they headed towards the Esports World Cup. But Team Vitality taking that might be a push for them here on the international stage, where they have an opportunity to take another title for themselves, because that might be the high that they'll be riding on.
Yeah, I mean, they almost got that trophy last year, right? It went all the way to a Game 10, and you cannot script this any better. The last 4v4 fight was between them and Evil's Divine. They were also the one that stopped RRQ from winning everything in Game A, and you know, they were the ones that really gave us that Game 10 in a way. So this year, I think Team Vitality, even though they haven't really been at the top, you don't really see them on the podium finish, they have done more than enough to get themselves onto Paris. And I think this is what actually matters in the grand scheme of things.
And mattering for Bangladesh is going to be Straw Hats. I think when we ended up seeing Titan Esports Club, they couldn't step up. We hoped that Blade would maybe have a big day. We did see him try to fight it out, break down the glue walls, but it was just not enough. But on the other end, Straw Hats, in the recent performance, even in, as I was mentioning about the Asia Invitational where Team Vitality won, Straw Hats put up a really good performance there. So I think this could be an opportunity for them as well, because we've been talking continuously that Group B is a group of opportunity. If you're able to put yourselves ahead of everybody else, you can get to the top of the charts. You can make it to the top 4 here on day 1 of the group stages itself.
And I think one of the factors that is going to affect which which team have better chances is the map rotation, right? We saw in Group A, it's going to be same for Group B, and I think you and I had this discussion behind backstage where this feels like it favors the Indonesians. It favors RRQ, Vitality, and Fluxo to a certain degree, right? We no longer have Alpine in the map rotation, so we're looking at Bermuda. We start off good. Then we go Solara, we get Curveball, then we go to Purgatory, and then Nixaro, Kalahari, Nixaro. I think the last 3 maps is going to be incredibly brutal for teams that are not called RQ, that are not called Team Vitality.
And I like that you brought out that this is going to be a really good map rotation, matches that we are going to flow through for the Indonesian teams, especially because when you kind of trace back in time, the teams from Thailand were dominating Free Fire in general, but now Indonesia, who have such a vivid history of Free Fire, are getting back to those titles. RRQ, we were talking about them. They're getting closer. I think that finish that they need, the refining might have just happened right before the Esports World Cup. Same goes for Team Vitality. They've been on the hunt for this title, but they just missed by Nick. But this time, maybe hook or crook, they make it happen.
Yeah. Only thing that I am slightly sad about that we're not going to see for the next, today and tomorrow is Team Vitality against Falcons, right? In different groups, love to see the Falcon Slayers show up somehow, but good chance that if they both make it, whether it's to survival stage or the grand finals, I think it's almost a guaranteed if you just, look at public opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm a sucker for underdog stories, right?
Yes.
At some point, I'm willing to sacrifice some of these top dogs to get the unproven regions on that big map, right? If you want to trade okay, maybe a bit too much.
Yeah.
If you want me to trade Aurora for Straw Hats, I would make that trade.
Agreed. I think that works out. But when you kind of talk about these underdog stories, right? You need to talk about the new regions who have come into the Esports World Cup. That's going to be USA. We've already talked about India.
Yes.
USA, Mia Corp coming into this Esports World Cup 2026. We saw how they played out, and I think out of the lot from USA, they are really good. So going up on this international stage, we've not seen the newer teams prove as well immediately when they start off. But if they can, that tells us the competition is completely changed.
Yeah, actually, it's quite the breath of fresh air as well. Right? I wouldn't have dreamed of having the stage in Free Fire as well, but here we are. And also a fun thing to point out, a fun little detail that we actually both noticed at the start of the day is that the what do you call it, the shield where you put the key in.
Exactly.
Right? So there's the inscription in the middle, right? And it's written everything, nothing is gained, everything is earned, and it's inscribed in the native language of the team that won last year. So if you rewind or at some point you get a clear shot of that again in the center, you can see the writings is actually in Basa Indo because he did win last year. Neat little detail. I love it a lot.
And this makes that shield a lot more personal to get it.
Yes.
Right? You have your own inscription for the region that you're going to be representing, your own language that is going to be coming up, and you could get to the totem, which we started at the start of the day. You've seen on the stream itself, as we are going to be starting off the Group B games. That is something that these players will be thinking at the back of their mind. A long run of 12 games in total, but today they have to only worry about the first 6 games they play out, how they start off, how they change. And I think for Group B, compared to Group A, it's about adaptability, change, be on top of your heels. If you're going to be setting your foot down, it's going to be very tough.
I agree. And, ironically, there's still one more team that we haven't highlighted, and it's also a team that a lot of time gets sidelined, but not for a bad reason. That's Twisted Minds, right? This is a team that they have always been doing some of the dirty work behind the scenes. They've always been putting out good numbers, but they're never sort of under the microscope. They're never in the center of the stage because it feels like when they pop off, you get an instant or two of good moments, of good plays, but afterwards, you sort of desire more from them, and it feels like it never happens. And I hope that they change it this year, right? Because this is a team that previously, when we still had one of the best snipers from Thailand, Saming on their squad, it is one of the deadliest teams. It is actually the first team to ever qualify for the Esports World Cup 24 in Riyadh. They were the first team to make it through under the banner of Reverse Raid, and then they became Twisted Minds. But ever since then, it hasn't really been the same, and we are still looking for the spark that made Twisted Minds 2 years later.
Something that is same that we have seen from the very start, even before our start of the team entries is the energy coming in from the Fluxo fans. They're looking unstoppable. I'm just loving this vibe that they've created for Arena, for the stage that we are at for Esports World Cup 2026 Paris. It looks unstoppable. The energy is just going through veins for everybody. And it feels like for us also on the desk, right? Just jump up from your seats, start dancing, vibe to those beats, and go the Fluxo way. They're enticing everybody sitting here to just root for Fluxo.
It's like, how could you not want to root for Fluxo, right?
Yeah.
In fact, even when they lifted out the banner, there's actually like a backstory lore, right? We asked Carol about it, and it was the whole encounter between Fluxo and MIBR Los back in their regular split. And well, guess what? They are both in the same lobby again, and we actually would get a potential remake of that scenario on Kalahari if it does happen, because record has it, MIBR Los has had Fluxo's numbers back on Kalahari until Fluxo decided that they've had enough, and that's where the whole quote comes out. It translates roughly to, dang it, they had us. I can't go any further than that, but you get the idea, right? And it became a quote for the Fluxo fans that they are now flying on that banner, which is nice, right? Like sometimes people think that, oh, this is planned now. I'm telling you, no one rigged anything, right? It falls into place. Who could have expected Team Secret to win Spring? If you ask me, I would say no way.
No way.
I tune in, I saw them lift the trophy, and I'm like, okay, they won. How did they win? 4 booyahs? Hello?
Yes, I was so surprised to see that happening one after another, and I think that's a similar storyline I kind of expect from RRQ when I was talking about the Asia Invitational, right? They were so close. They were closer than Vitality, even though they had activated the Champion Rush. It was supposed to be RRQ to close it because they made a similar comeback like that, back-to-back booyahs, and they activated the Champion Rush, but they missed out on closing it, and Team Vitality just did it.
Yep, but we actually seen it many times. Even from a team that's actually not here, Team Onyx Esports, went back in Spring 2025. We know that, right? They won the Champion Rush when no one expected them to do so. Unfortunately, the 25 round wasn't that great for them in Riyadh. I think that is the crazy thing about Champion Rush, which we have plenty of time to mentally prepare for. But you can see some of these teams, they're holding hands, they're making sure that they were actually in a group hug before the walk-ins. A lot of these teams, especially those that are coming in for the very first time, just making sure that they dial in. Right? For the experienced ones like Fluxo, we see Bobs, he's meditating, he's ready to wreak havoc. But like again, for the unproven regions, I'm looking forward to see if they can upset the balance. I think that is the most exciting part right now.
I think the weighing scale is going to be a big imbalance in this group. You cannot figure out which team's doing better. Right from game 1 to our end at game 6, you will have no clue about it. But as the fans are riling up, it's also time to start our very first game. It is Bermuda for Group B here at the Esports World Cup 2026 in Paris.
Paris, friends, let's continue to light things up because Group B is going to be a fantastic show. And right off the bat, we got to look at how Bermuda plays out, right? In this case, very generous flight path right down the middle. We should get a decent circle. The drops come in still pretty much what we expected from the teams that we see a lot. Vitality going to Observatory, RRQ going to Remnant Village. I want to see who takes Peak, right? Because usually it's a BRU spot, but BRU isn't here. We're looking at TG deciding to go for Peak. I think Fluxo should go for Cape Town or somewhere that gears towards Sentosa. Miyako also heading that direction as well, but actually Fluxo spreading out.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. Fluxo going all over the map. We can see one of the players, as you already mentioned, between Miyako, but most of the teams seems to be a little safe and sound, except for Twisted Minds and early Esports. A little bit of a quick battle first elimination picked up by Exposy, and that's going to be C4, who's already down, and that's going to be Al-Hali already in a disadvantage. Remind Hawk and Simons has to pick this up. They're closer, a quick dash to get the player back up. They expend their ability to get a revive.
Yeah, and I think, in the early game, it is still very much understandable, right? You really don't lose too much. Worst case scenario, you go back to square one. But I think for Al-Ali, that's exactly what they're looking at, right? Buy some distance between them and Twisted Minds and make sure they don't lose too much numbers. Unfortunately for them, they can't really fully disengage from this. So now they're going to be put to the test. Can they stand up against Twisted Minds in that early game gunfight?
It's going to be difficult for them. They've already faced face the challenge. They had to revive the player, and you can see Twisted Minds have no thought of backing off, and early, I don't see them retreating from this fight. They're stuck here, and it could become even more difficult because the resources in the early game will not be that great, and the challenge is still happening. Twisted Minds have a glue wall right in front. Oscar's Valiant dash doesn't work over there, but still Exposy tries to bring it back and exchange on an elimination.
And it's Total Gaming that is the one that caused disaster for both squads. I think getting that elimination early on onto the bus, that is going to stop every altercation that has happened to this point and shift the focus of Twisted Minds towards themselves. 3 eliminations early on, Al-Hadi gets bailed out of this situation. Everyone lives on, but let's see how far Total Gaming wants to push this.
Total Gaming Esports, Aiku, they wanted this opportunity for a long time. Their team in the making itself needed some fine-tuning with the new addition coming in Water. And it seems like it's working out, and there it is, Shanke. He finds one, but quickly traded off by Diamond. So there is answer coming in from Twisted Mind, but they have to be very, and Mafia looks like he's back in form, picks up Diamond, the man who troubled them. That is another elimination added to the pool, and Total Gaming right at the start get a total of 6 troubling Twisted Minds.
Yeah, took off on a sprint in a marathon and off to a great start. 6 eliminations under the back, and unfortunately for the Bas, doesn't really have much resources in his bank. So even a revive would be an impossible task as of now. To make things worse, not much resources nearby that he can go for. At least no coins.
This is what I was
worried
about.
You didn't say, I mean, Total Gaming, they have something in store for us. Gives me back the feeling of what we saw from Gun Dynasty earlier on, right? It could be that run as we shift our focus over to Lion. Them against Soul, Vitality as well. In their crosshairs, Sibang being forced out by the Riptide Rhythm. A couple of shots now from Lion. It's going to be Joker that finds that, but stolen away.
SATL Esports, that's Noor, the newest addition for the lot. And he has to prove himself on this stage, but now he gets taken down. It's going to be a trouble. He will also be confirmed. Bunny, he couldn't do much. The glue wall in front of him, Riptide Rhythm being used. Now he's going for the jump shot, but Joker surrounded him. That's not going to work out. Once more, Lion picking up another elimination on SHL. So the start not great. Troll also down. It's all up to Jack, and he's making a quick run away from this fight entirely.
Yeah, you tempt the Lion, you better be ready. And in this case, Lion were fully prepared to receive that hit. Especially when you're dealing with people like Joker, like Games Kings that we talked about, the young prodigy of Latam, Hacks as well. Sometimes forgotten in the wayside as Jack gets found, jump blast him in the back, and that's another point gone. Twisted Minds secures the second, and they get a full revive, so the Bas get the job done.
Thankfully, before going down, SATL were able to find a revive. Others it could have been a very first elimination in this Group B Game 1. Thankfully, a little recovery, even for Twisted Minds, because of what just went on earlier. They were not prepared against Total Gaming. Now they did find an elimination that they're happy about. But the happiest so far, as we can still see, energy, not even a single beat being dropped. That's going to be for the Fluxo fans. But Straw Hats, finally, who had an early difficulty, now picking up pace. They pick a player from Al-Hali, and that's going to be Remind.
And even then, we still have 45 players in the lobby, right? As if no one got taken out at all. Bit of a casualty, but nothing a couple of revives wouldn't solve. Even when you look at the radar, TG moving towards the center very soon. Launchpad being taken by Straw Hats. They're going to leave Graveyard. One of the players does lag behind a little bit, but you do have the Reconnaissance squad ahead, and they might end up running into Simox from Al-Hali. They spot him, taking the Launchpad out. So Observatory now conceded over the Straw Hats.
I think because this Observatory is around the edge, right? We saw Al-Hali want to get this position, but right now with a lightning bolt, make a call. It might be a loss, have a challenge. That's going to be RRQ that they want to hit on. General is down. Rigby holds the entrance, puts the player. That's going to be runs down along with a bear. And MIB loss will be able to recover the players. And this Bolt Maker works in their favor.
Yeah, right off the bat, taking out the captain of RRQ and sending only the young Ma'al on the run. No vending machine in sight. A revival point that is too risky to try and capture with Team Vitality and MIB Outlaws about to square off in that area around Clock Tower. Plenty of compound to work with, a lot of low grounds to hide with. But Team Vitality splitting up as well into a 1-2-1 formation. Whereas MIB Outlaws, they're going to settle in the compound that they just wrestled away from RRQ.
I really like how Vitality is strategizing. They're waiting for an opportunity. They're like the cats who are about to pounce, and MIBR Loss have no idea about it because they just pushed an opponent out of that compound.
Yes.
They chased out RRQ, but look at this. Slowly trailing in that same direction is even Total Gaming. There's going to be an helter-skelter breakout happening at Clock Tower now.
Yeah, it's going to be pandemonium pretty soon. We got to see where this circle takes us, right?
Yeah.
High chance Clock Tower is going to be in the next circle. But where it kind of pivots towards going to decide where Total Gaming goes, and smack dab in the center. We are getting a very, very nice algorithm for game one.
Yeah.
Starting it slow and tame.
Slow and steady was not how all it started. Multiple teams having casualties, but still all the 12 teams that dropped in Bermuda are still surviving. A major chunk of it, or maybe a team fully being eliminated, can be seen here now at the 7-minute mark. Maal finally gets found, and that is going to be the first team. You mentioned there is no vending machine nearby, and Maal couldn't get closer before getting spotted by Alali.
Bit of a throwback to the recent Asian Invitational that they were in, right? Same thing. Start, it's always not how you start, it's how you finish, and in this case, for Team RRQ, they're gonna go back to the drawing board, 5 more rounds ahead, and some of their most powerful maps in the later stages of Group B, so not all hope is lost. Exposy finds the 3rd point for his team as well. Twisted Mind slowing the pace now, was able to get back on their feet. Decent economy, and even having a very decked out arsenal should this game go late. I think they just cleared out Graveyard, so there is going to be a very good trajectory for them to move on forward. Even better with Lion just leaving where they were.
On the other end, silence still at Clock Tower. I think people can hear the clock making a tick sound. That's how we are seeing MIB a loss, Total Gaming and Vitality together, and joining that lot is going to be Straw Hats. Slow and steady, everybody want to look for an opportunity, and this is going to be Yago, who spots through the window on the player of Straw Hats, the newest entry team who've made it to Clock Tower. But hey, being at the center, meaning the fight is not going to yet break out. It is only when the circle shifts away from you and you have to make a move is when we see the fight. I think other than that, they'll be just trying to chip away each other's HP. Other than that, nothing else for now.
Yeah, especially in this case, for them, they are going to spread out their manpower, right? You want to control as much area as possible. You do run the risk of getting picked off. We've seen that happen multiple times. If you're up against more experienced team, that's what they're looking at. Some of the weaker chains of the anchor, Diamond, getting another one under his belt, and this is gonna start hurting Lion as Twisted Minds down for round 2, back at Observatory where they dropped in the early game, but more equipped to take on a fight.
Twisted Minds, I really like that they managed to recover, but they're not just completely clocked in. They need to figure out, and same goes for Lion. A quick jump coming in from Gamesh King. He will get still in another different direction, but not yet towards the circle. He's just moving further away.
Yeah, I mean, one team that has been pretty silent the entire game is Team Secret. Surprisingly, this is a team on Bermuda. You expect them to come out swinging, get a couple of eliminations before they go off the radar. But so far, this Team Secret right now feels like Fluxo from 2024, where they play an incredibly slow game, and at that point of time, playing slow is sort of how you lose out in the late game. And in this case, Team Secret, they are taking no chances. As you did mention earlier on, Lucifer, Lion not really focusing on getting into the circle earlier on, but now they'll have to make a break for it. The launch pad being used, a couple of Dinoculars ahead of Bimasakti Strip, just to make sure that there are no gatekeepers there. And the circle pivots towards the southern side, so the journey gets extended, and they might still get intercepted by Twisted Minds.
Now I like the position of Clock Tower. More teams joining that fray. More teams wanting to take control of that arena. It's not going to be easy. Now is when it all breaks loose. Because right at the edge, when the zone closes in, we are for sure knowing that the Clock Tower will not be inside the circle anymore after it shifts.
I mean, the last we checked the radar, Team Secret were at Factory, and they were completely alone, right? Completely uncontested. Maybe Fluxo comes in from the eastern side, but even then, it's a high chance that they will not cross paths. But we did say Clock Tower has a lot of areas that you can play around. High ground, low ground, building, outside, inside. In this case, even the underground tunnel. As our Ali members basically nested there. MIBR Loss continues to make sure that they control the perimeter, and Haone instantly finds the pop on the Koja.
That was an opening, but I think they should be able to bring the player back up because this is happening within the compounds. Nobody has clear sight of their enemy, so taking them down is not going to be quick and easy. But as you can see, it's just the waiting game right as of now. 11 teams surviving. If not for Mahal going down, I think we would have 12 teams. 11 minutes into the game. This is Group B, game number 1. I did not expect to see all these teams still surviving.
And we were literally just talking about this in the back rooms. with everyone else, right? Like, it really depends on the teams that are playing in the lobby.
Yeah.
Sometimes if they want to play fast, they're going to play fast. Sometimes they just decide, we're not going to fight. We're getting the ladder. We're getting the teams that are going to start blowing some smoke maybe 30 minutes into the game when the whole lobby is still up. In this case, barring RRQ, who have been eliminated. But aside from that, it's going to get messy. And that also means this is an incredibly volatile late game.
It is. Especially because we already spoke, right? Group A, we know teams are very familiar with the circuit itself. We saw a lot of Southeast Asian teams already taking control of it. The Brazilian squad of Loud also taking control of it. But here, everybody is unsure about the other team. They want to read them, and that is the reason they're taking so much time. But finally, Batsin, he finds an opening on Miyakop. That's going to be Biblik going down. Nix, Joshua have to figure this out. Leon also surrounding them, so there's going to be a lot more trouble. Miyakop, they're trying to hold them off. Glue walls all across and making sure Rooftop becomes their home for the time being.
And Leon will have to make a decision right now. The circle is going to start hurting them. They are going to be rested in this corner. But if they don't show themselves outside of the building, Miyakop has a very good idea of where they might be. Dinoculus could also solve that problem. The bigger winner now is definitely a team from the States, as Leon will have to huddle together and figure out a solution very, very quickly in the next half a minute. Fluxo making a big rotation and now running the team secret. And Exposy starts things off by taking out Josper. So Miyakop, they have another team to be worried about.
They did lose a player, but they're not worried about the casualty because they have an upper hand. They are on top of the roof. But right now, having an upper hand might be Fluxo. They want to take down Team Secret because they were the ones who made a jump right in front of them. And they're trying their best, but Team Secret quickly with the chrono, the glue walls are trying to keep it going. But PLS1 is down. TQ, he also gets taken down. And now 7, he is gone down. And Fluxo, W7M, put a team out.
The Brazilian Titans, 6 eliminations onto Butcherson. And MT7 stepping up to the occasion as well. We did say, even during one of the series breakdown, the series recap, Snipers players are integral. MT7 Butcherson. We see Yago step up to the occasion as well. And our Team Vitality, it's their turn to make a splash. And they are taking care of their opponents. Only Tro is left alive. He's going to try and walk away with the stealth bite. As we lose Straw Hats off screen, Lion is also out. And now the lobby is going to start shrinking.
I don't know where Troll is going to make a run. We already spoke about Clock Tower. It's already in a very difficult spot. The vending machine is there, but so are many other teams. And Troll Gaming are on top of all of it. They're already in the first floor of things, so they have a better vision of where the other teams are. And Al Ali, we already spoke about them. They are underground. Nobody knows that they are there. They made their entrance. They're holding their control. On the other end of our screen, even Miyakop gets taken down. But wait, Troll, he picks off Dix. He's bringing this down to individual battles, and now Sipang has to deliver. He's trying to put up glue walls. Troll trying to win this out on a 1v1. It's going to be very difficult. Vitality on the last man. His position gets compromised. And Al Ali, they quickly jump in, and Team Vitality eliminated.
Taking advantage of the chaos, Al Ali gets themselves another point. Twisted Minds against Fluxo. W7M right now. A full blown out fight. 12 eliminations under the belt of the Brazilians. Exposy gets pre-fire. Butcherson nails his 8 as MT7 finds the boss from long range. Twisted Minds getting dismantled. MT7 goes for a rescue mission. Bob's the captain back up on his feet, but Twisted Minds not so lucky. Diamond cannot withstand the pressure that is Butcherson and make it 15 for Fluxo.
Fluxo looking unstoppable. They're still at the edge of the circle. Might be a loss. Rigbai, he finds a player on Troll Gaming, but in the meantime, Troll getting eliminated. SHUL Esports, they are out. They only ended up getting 6 points in total. But Troll Gaming now, they start stepping out, but Aztec gets hit by Rigby. Yago putting down Shanky. Troll Gaming held this position for far too long. Vota, and then Aztec to fall. That is going to be the end for Troll Gaming. Holding that did not work in their favor.
And now Fluxo will take on Al Ali. Can they eliminate this team from MENA to give themselves that rematch against MIBR loss in the opening game? But Al Ali, they're holding steadfast. They are the ones with the man advantage. And MT7, he needs some help. But unfortunately, MIBR loss are in the best possible position. Falls with a nade, takes out C4, equalize the battlefield. Hawk goes down. Al Ali now getting pressured.
Nades were being tossed by Fluxo, but MIBR lost. They turn it around, and Bobs is the last one standing. It's going to be very difficult, but also Bobs troubling Al Ali along with the help of MIBR loss. They put out Al Ali, and now it's the last one standing, Bobs, and it's going to be MIBR loss getting the very first booyah of Group B.
What an opener here for MIBR Laws. A rematch that we didn't expect to see that soon in the final circle, with minor interventions and an uninvited guest in the form of our Ali Esports. But at the end of the day, well fought, honestly, by the MENA region, right? Put up a good fight against Fluxo, gave them a heck of a 4v4 skirmish, even took out one of their members before MIBR Laws was even in the conversation. But there's nothing to be disappointed about. Los, they got the booyah. Fluxo still finished second. The fans, they're still cheering on. This is just the beginning.
Yeah, but if this is the very first game and we ended up seeing a fight break out like that, which was, as we said, completely complicated. You couldn't decipher which team had the better opportunity or the better position because we spoke about it. Hey, this team has a compound. Hey, that team is in a good position right at the edge of the circle. But towards the end, MIBR Lost, who did not even seem on our screens a lot, they ended up closing it out, and it ended up being a fight between the Brazilians at the end of this game.
I mean, you called it out, right? You said that Clock Tower is a very good spot to be nested in. And guess who set up shop there first? MIBR Lost.
Yes.
They got there first, they called dibs, and they owned the area.
And I think that's very crucial because even Total Gaming tried to play that out, but the timing when they jumped out, they got spotted because MIBR were ahead of that play. Yes. They were the ones who stepped out of Clock Tower, and that is the reason they were able to take down Total Gaming and put them down in an instant. And I think all the fights that we've seen MIBR take, they've been very quick in converting. Even in this, as we can see, the replay, quick hits coming in from Yago on the sniper. That is the initial approach that troubled Fluxo. They had an opportunity to recover, and on the other end, Ali also troubling them. But Bob's going to give it to them. Last man standing over there, looking forward to extra eliminations, ends up getting 2 more, and that's going to be a total of 18 for the lot of Fluxo.
Yeah, they get 18 eliminations. MIBR Lost gets 14. And in a pretty ironic way, Bob's getting gunned down in the hands of his former teammate Yago, who actually won 2023 together as well. So again, a bit of a bittersweet reunion on Bermuda. But what a start we have. I mean, of course, barring the fact that RQ got wiped out first, which is unfortunate circumstances. I'm pretty sure Conchita is losing her mind backstage. But we're going to take a moment to breathe and let these teams get back on track. So we'll be back with you guys in just a bit.
Is here, MT7. I am so happy to talk to you right now because Brazilian fans gave you a nickname called Baby Goat. Do you really think you are a goat? And why you think you can help your team to win EWC this year? MT7, os fãs brasileiros te deram o apelido de Baby Goat. Você realmente acha que você é um GOAT? E como é que você acha que você pode ajudar o seu time a vencer o EWC 2026?
Trabalhei muito, hoje eu me considero um GOAT aí do Free Fire, né? E, mano, pra ajudar meu time é naquela funçãozinha minha, né? Dar o suporte, derrubar o primeiro, o segundo, o terceiro, o quarto, fazer uns highlights maneiro. E é isso, é básico.
Of course, I consider myself a GOAT because I have worked really hard through all these years. And of course, I'm gonna have a good performance to help my team to win EWC 2026, doing what I do better, being a sniper. Thanks so much, MT7, and I'm gonna see you during the match at EWC 2026. High five.
High five. Bye.
And we are back here, and right now I'm with RRQ Kazoo, Abai, and the coach Adi, who's gonna translate for us. Okay, so last year you guys were really close to the title. You finished in the second on standings. What have changed from last year to this year?
Kita kemarin ada di posisi kedua. Chance apa yang mau kita bawa kemarin sampai sekarang? Maksudnya apa yang mau kita lakuin dari yang kemarin untuk hari ini? Yang kita lakuin ya kita pasti lebih disiplin aja sih dari yang kemarin.
We must try to more discipline before last season.
Perfect. Okay, we all know Indonesia is a powerful region, and you guys are defending the title. I mean, not your team, but Indonesia in general. Do you think you guys are favored to win this year since you finished last year in the second in the standings?
Tahun kemarin kan Indonesia cukup powerful ya, Pak ya, 1, 2, 3. Nah, menurut lu untuk season ini gimana? Gue yakin 3 tim Indonesia bakal 1, 2, 3 lagi. Tapi yang pertama tetap tim RRQ. Yeah, we trust in this season. It seems like last season Indonesia still powerful, and we hope in this year team from Indonesia they still stay on top 3.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the interview. We wish you a good luck during the matches, and I will see you there in the arena, right? Thank you so much, guys.
For RRQ, not really how you wanted to start off the day, being the first team eliminated. Hopefully it's not a caster curse. We'll have to see what's going to happen in the next 5 matches for that squad. But if you're a Brazil fan and you were jumping up there and just playing all those drums, my goodness, what a start for that squad.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, ending the game with top 2 coming from Brazil, it's just something that we'd expect. Because it's something like Fluxo was dominating it in terms of numbers. Even when they jump in against the opponents, they just are aiming for those squad wipes. So MIBR lost is a team that we didn't expect to get that booyah as well. So they were just stalking, waiting in the shadows until that final pounce.
One team that will be kind of stalking and just waiting to pounce on that second game. I know it's going to be some of those Indian squads, because actually one of them, Total Gaming, ended up having one of the best performances that we have seen up to this point, especially this early on, right? Out of the squads from India. But moving on from some of the other squads, one surprise squad, especially at the start, Twisted Minds.
Oh, exactly. I mean, they're going back to the aggressive way. This is one thing that I was looking forward to every time I see Twisted Mind, is them to go aggressive. And even though they falter in the first view, and you did mention about Total Gaming, because Total Gaming is one of a few of those surprises. And it's not so much that they cannot get away from it. A vending machine is available, so they can always go for a revive. And Twisted Mind, they got 14 of the total points. And that's 12 points behind MIBR. Lost though, but it's still a lot when it comes to this group.
It is a lot. And one thing that I know you're going to be happy, especially talking about Twisted Minds, is those eliminations that they were able to get, right?
Yep.
Because they ended up getting 14 points, like you mentioned, and 9 of those points were coming from eliminations. You're big on them, but I mean, we got to go back to Fluxo, because Fluxo, even though they don't end up getting the booyah, they do end up with 18 ilums. Can they maybe bounce back and go after that booyah? Remember, we have some squads earlier on get 3 booyahs in one series.
Well, I do understand the mindset of Fluxo at this point, because from what we've seen in that game, like, it is a slow pace. Not so much of chasing that is happening. And I think they felt that they're not hearing all those gunfights, so they're capitalizing on, I don't know, some of the teams just slowly warming up. And then once they see a squad, that's when they use exactly the strength they have, like MT7 as sniper, to get information or get elimination.
I mean, squads that you were looking at earlier too, Leon, I know, was one of them. I know a lot of people currently watching at home is hoping that SAUL Esports does end up doing good. That squad ended up getting a total of 2 eliminations. We want to, come on, tell them that, Tim. We want to see more.
Yeah, we want more. Bring us more. Because, I mean, I know this is the first day jitters for them, especially like second half. And we were talking about that on Studio. We're in. They've seen the gameplay for other teams. So this time, instead of just waiting for them to like using that tactics, they were a little bit shattered for the moment, but I think they can get back.
I mean, coming into this second match, I really want to see RRQ bounce back. And it's based on what Conchita was saying earlier on too. We don't want to see them get into those jitters. We don't want to see them get into that choking mentality that some of these people are expecting. I think they might be able to turn it around. And I know everybody here is going to be ready to see who's going to be winning Game 2 of Group B.
Thank you very much to Seven and Neptune. Yes, I mean, Conchita is right? We gotta see if RRQ can get out of that underperforming, that choking zone, right? Something that is it's a very hard C word right now for them because he has been playing them for very, very long, Lucifer. But when we look at Solara, I unfortunately have to put RQ aside just for a bit because I want to talk about team vitality. This is a map that they excel on.
This should be an opportunity that they should close on. Solara, the smallest of all the games, the quickest of all the games, where when we compared Bermuda, right, there was a little bit of a silence in the mix. Now going and jumping down to Solara, there's an opportunity that everybody will be forced together, take that fight head on, and we might end up seeing it work out for Vitality, as you mentioned.
It's going to be pretty important as well because for Team Vitality, they didn't get off to the best start, 9 points, single digit. But then again, it was also a pretty top-heavy game number 1 with both the Brazilian teams coming out swinging. Let's see if they keep the momentum, right? A lot of times, teams, they come out in game 1, game 2, guns blazing, they hit like a 30 bomb and then they gas out. And that's not really how you want. You want to be able to maintain and make sure that you don't overheat. And in this case, we're looking at both MIBR Lows and Fluxo.
And in that case, mainly, I look forward to RRQ pulling off their best games. Because the first game in general games of all the performances I've seen coming in from RRQ, the very first game doesn't work in their favor. Every other game, they just pull off with a spree of eliminations. And something that also starts off for early compared to the previous game is finding the very first elimination by C4.
And for Miacorp, instantly looking for the disengage. Easier to pull off on a map like Solara if you are lucky enough to get onto the grind rails. You can't get away, but in this case, it might come down to Kapas, see if he can get a couple of pickoffs to just scare out Ali away, or if not, you're going to go into the contingency plan of just splitting up and cutting your losses.
Miacorp, in the last game, we ended up seeing being at the edge of the circle. They tried to play it out, it did not work out, and this waiting game troubles them. And there it is, another challenge coming in from C4, finds his second elimination here in Solar already.
Literally say that Kapas needs to be the one that anchors down the field, but unfortunately, I think with him gone, Miacorp is going to be at least put in shambles for now about cutting the losses. Team Secret make an early rotation. In fact, they actually caught water, so that is a confirmed elimination there. 2 under the belt of Hongam, looking for the remainders of Total Gaming, who actually had a great start in game 1. But Team Secret, that started slow on Bermuda, looking to turn things up in game 2, and that's number 3. Here's the knuckle sandwich and a triple for Hongam.
And Team Secret are now picking up eliminations. They only had 1 point at the end of game number 1. Now they have already 3 added on. And Total Gaming, thankfully, they'll be happy that one of their players were at least able to run away from Studio rather than getting in the crosshairs of Team Secret again. And RRQ on the other end, they will be able to hold themselves off, get to elimination, and MIB are lost in still trouble. And moving up, Rawan, I think yes, has the max 7, but can he find the knock? He's trying his best, but it's not going to work out. Players are surrounding him, still be able to dabble with 1 knock, but will not be able to confirm for the time being.
Yeah, completely outnumbered. Fluxo against SAUL. Going even so far, Butcherson and Gio both leading out, and Gio is gone, terminated in this battle. As the Captain Bombs comes in, Tro with a shot! An instant disengage there, but damage is done to the Brazilians as Tro backtracks. MT7 calls to get out of there.
That was a big recovery coming in from Troll. He's a very crucial player on that sniper and always delivers, and this is one of the moments for him to highlight himself. But on the other end, Twisted Minds and Straw Hats as well did not have a great game. Twisted Minds at least recovered, but for the time being on the deficit with Exposy going down, they have to figure out how they fight out with Straw Hats. And Straw Hats, they need numbers, they need eliminations, something that I had expectations on, and they've not yet delivered. It's just 1 elimination.
And made worse by losing Exposy to RRQ, who popped him from afar, and that means the Straw Hats actually have a numbers advantage. Shocked is gonna shock Diamond with that one. Twisted Minds down to 2, and Straw Hats now have a very good chance of taking over. But with RRQ taking out Exposy early on, they're gonna come in as an intervention as Jump is already out of there. So now RRQ is Straw Hats' problems.
And it is happening already. RRQ with confirming eliminations, they're taking down players from Straw Hats, and Straw Hats are in trouble. How do they recover from this? He is questioning who just challenged them. And it's not going to be an easy challenge. Delivery coming in on the Mac 10 from a bear. He puts the player down, and who will look forward to a revive from one of his teammates.
And the rest of Straw Hats are already booking it out of there. Very easy way to navigate from this area. Neo is doing just that. Straw Hats should be fine. A couple of Arsenal nearby, and A revival point in the vending machine down the road. Team Vitality on the other end finds themselves Mia Corp again. Koja trying to pelt down the members of the USA team. But so far, the glue walls have been nice. Team Vitality receiving some resistance from Mia Corp, and it's Biblik that takes out Joel.
Not the best coming in from Team Vitality. Even the game 1 start, they were caught out in a 3v1 and they lost to Troll, ending up at a 1v1, and Ali took their last elimination. So not sure of how they play this out. When you already mentioned, we spoke about this. This should be their map, their match. They should try to get back points, get to the top of the charts. But looking at how the play of this game is continuing, I don't see it happening anytime soon for Team Vitality.
Which is the craziest thing, because statistically they're technically not the best on this map, but whenever we get to that map and we look at the stats without Team Vitality, they step up. It's kind of a sick joke in a way.
Yeah.
RQ Kazu having their captain kept alive by a bye, but someone still needs to go retrieve him. And there it is, back up on his feet. RQ with 6 eliminations under their belt. Could cross paths with Vitality. Maybe even Straw Hats again.
I can say to Neptune and everybody else on our expert panel, pish posh, there's no curse, you don't have to worry about. It's just the RRQ play. The very first game doesn't work in their favor, and then they manage to recover. Team Vitality would want to do the same thing as well. Straw Hats on the other end at Casavista, they managed to recover. They did pick up those early fights, they did win it out against Twisted Minds, but they would have wanted to eliminate the whole squad. Thankfully, Jump made an opportunity to run away, but he still not revived his entire squad. This is what happens when you run away from a very early on fight. You do not have enough coins or reinforcements to push ahead or even go to the vending machine and try to get your player back up. And I think that's what's affecting Jump right now.
Quite an interesting development as well. As we look at the edge of the circle, plenty of teams are duking it out. You know, you have RRQ and MIBR Lost, the eastern side at Delta Isle, Team Secret, and Lion on the western side as well. But I think Lion are looking for a disengage. They've already sent one of the players out to a vending machine to get those revives going soon as they start dropping bodies. And I think Games King is going to be trapped in quite the predicament. Team Vitality out in the middle in Archway, and actually getting a pretty good area to hold on to.
The circle shifts a little sudden, and there's an opportunity where, again, Total Gaming end up being at the very center. Straw Hats, who managed to also make their recovery, are heading in that direction at Bloomtown. And right above them, we already spoke about Mia Corp. And Mia Corp, just like the previous game, they don't go out all brash at right the beginning. They wait for their opportunity, which they did pick up a couple in the early game, but it's not going to continue. But right as now, RRQ, the ones who are continuing, the team who just got the Booyah trying and denying them, that's going to be a big spray coming in and picking the players off, converting eliminations, and that's how we ended up seeing them getting their 6 eliminations in total.
A way better spot than what we have seen in Game 1. I mean, anything that is not last right now is better for RRQ. Isolated jump right out on the edge. And unfortunately, the same predicament as RRQ from Game 1, no vending machine in sight. And no
coins.
No coins. There is one on the radar, but like you said, no resources to bring his teammates back. He actually just picked up a pile of it.
Yeah.
And that could be the game changer if MIBR Lost don't spot him.
Fluxo on the other end, they have an opportunity to spot a player from Lion. Sneakily hiding in the time being here at the studio, and there could be an opportunity that they start off a fight that Lion are not prepared for. But I think Hax has an idea. He knows he's caught out between enemy land. He's not sure if he should head out and put his head there for a fight, and that is the reason he's just holding off until the players move out. But moving in for Team Vitality are going to be Al Ahly as well as Straw Hats. So something that they have to wonder about and change their pacing.
TG now are going to start receiving some of those shots from Team Vitality, but they do have a compound that could keep them safe. Resistance put up a Mafia and App team to take out Deeks in that exchange, but again, compound pretty much secured for now. So Team Vitality, they should be able to recover and sort of readjust to the fight that's being put up by this Indian squad. And I think Total Gaming, there's also an opening where they could decide to go straight for the compound with Team Vitality if push comes to shove.
But again, just going back to the previous game, if they try to hold out the compound for far too long, we've known teams who managed to surround them, and that is how, even after almost having a great start, they ended up losing the battle, and MIBR Lost ended up pulling up a Booyah itself. So small instances, these small minute things that you let go of becomes a bigger viral thing for the other teams.
And Diamond taken out. Team Secret joins the feed again.
He just came back.
He just came back. I think we found a theme for Group B so far, Lucifer. Full squad, 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
Second time it has happened. I think this is what we can look forward to for the rest of the day, which is an exciting thing because it keeps it volatile. Our Ali even getting a small respite there. Circle now really shrinking down towards the middle. Man, 12 teams, 2 less space for this density of population. Team Secret from the north, MIBL lost, about to cross paths with them at Archway.
Team Secret on the other end, read by the binoculars. So I think that should be MIBL loss who have an idea, or RRQ on the edge of it. Miyako, they end up picking up runs, but Maal answers back, takes Nix down. But those are just knocks for the time being. There's no confirmation. Maal, in turn, gets traded out. And now Al-Ali jumps to trouble Miyako. This is just happening back and forth. These teams are just dropping players, but not confirming any of them. All of a sudden, runs and dots together. They put out Miyako.
And breaks the game wide open, just as we thought that the drought will continue for a while longer. And RRQ springing to life and putting themselves on the board for now, and they continue to take on the challenge against Al-Ali. The glue wall is getting blasted and weakened by Al-Ali. Simox right in the front of Duz, and he is out. The captain once more removed by the Mina squad. Abai tries to take on the fight, but Al-Ali putting up better resistance, and RRQ forced away.
How did this happen? RRQ, they were looking good, and Maal, now the last man standing. Thankfully, a quick pickup truck, a quick boost. He's run back to the TV tower and a vending machine right in front, so he will be able to bring the players back. But Twisted Minds, they had an opportunity to break again RRQ. But I think they have their target right in front. Al-Ali, who made trouble. Jump is down on the other end. They wanted to sandwich. I think that did not work out. And Al-Ali have an upper hand because they have all their 3 players looking forward to this after converting a fight. And they're running across back into the circle, leaving Twisted Minds in trouble.
And Al-Ali able to sneak past Twisted Minds as well. They poke for it. RRQ, they get the full revive, but the boss was laying in wait. Duz, he just came back and he is removed from the equation again. So RRQ playing from behind, and everything is on the shoulders of Ma'ao. He needs one more on the diamond. The AWM, just enough to put him down so Abai can finish him off with the Mac 10. Chrono Dome is out, but the boss is Sin, and Twisted Minds continues to put on the pedal.
RRQ getting trouble back and forth. They're trying their best to recover. It's not working out in their favor. It was Al-Ali first and now Twisted Minds. And Twisted Minds in this game especially are able to hold themselves off. Team Secret on the other end have been just watching this action, teams moving around. Now they have their own opportunity. Maal, he needs to run back, but he only has 400 coins. That is not going to be a full recovery for him. He wants to look forward to a knock or an elimination, but he doesn't have enough time. And with Maal going out, the zone doing the damage, RRQ are done for here in Solara.
Standings isn't pretty in terms of placement points, but at least
eliminations.
They ran away with 13, and that's going to fill out that booyah for a little bit in equivalence. As we're now checking on Straw Hats against Fluxo W7M, pushes in right through the window, has the therapy with him. The Cassie by his side along the Oscar, a classic combo to go up front, up close and personal. Troll from afar actually taking out Straw. So Straw has attention being divided. They need a bit of help, but it seems like this sandwich might be too much as SAQL and Fluxo W7M are going to be the undoing. Straw Hats have been wiped out.
That was an opening for Fluxo, and they're going to be happy. They put Straw Hats completely out of the game. SAQL Esports ended up becoming a wonder of a blessing for them. That is added on eliminations. Yes, one of the players got 1 elimination on Straw Hats, but the other 3 were all taken away. Now Team Secret want to do the same thing. They have a total of 11 eliminations right at the edge of the circle with the same position. Even goes for Twisted Minds. And that is the reason we can see the inclination coming in from Team Secret to take out Twisted Minds as soon as possible.
And it has been working wonders for them, right? They picked up the pace. Game 1, they played slow and they fell in the hands of Fluxo, but this time they amp up the tempo a little bit, and Fluxo surprisingly doing the same. But the eliminations hasn't been reflected just yet. We're still looking at 5 for now, but with 8 teams remaining in this lobby, there's a very good opportunity for some of these teams to rack up a couple more takedowns. And SAUL is one of them, but Troll getting pinned down by PLS1. How did they get out of this predicament? The blue zone is behind, Team Secret is in front, and it seems like it will be easy pickings, like shooting fish in a barrel. Twisted Team Secret with 13.
Twisted Minds, they are also in trouble. But Esports, he wants to trouble Team Secret. While they did pick up eliminations, they're looking good. But Jump's been lost. The man who brought the players back up. Total Gaming on the other end, they are going down to their knees. The fight against Vitality not working in their favor. But Sipeng and Dix are also down. So Team Vitality, they have another challenge. That's going to be Lion on one end and Fluxo on the other. And Lion are taking an advantage on both the teams of Vitality and Total Gaming and finally put an end to their run on Solara. But Koja, he's going aggressive. He finds MT7 over there. Will not be able to confirm yet because he had to step out of the zone.
It's going to be crunch time right now. Hong Out actually takes out Jakos right before that glue wall comes out. And Team Secret might have just broken open Lion's defenses. They get the pickup still, but it means resources have been spent. And Team Secret in a very strong position to make it further. Joe now needs to poke it for safety and will do so for now, but PLS1 catches him from behind, and that's Team Vitality removed from the lobby. 5 more teams remain. Team Secret, 14 eliminations and counting.
I'm seeing a lot of M60 being used. They are pummeling these bullets to their enemies, looking unstoppable. And that's what Team Secret is just rallying one after another, rounds after round. And Lion now, they make a jump. A big launcher coming in from Hacks, and he puts the side of Fluxo out.
Cascading damages. Fluxo walked into a landmine, and Lion comes in with a grenade launcher. And they are the ones that get to voucher off and reap the rewards of what has been sold by the opponents. But right now, out into the open is Twisted Minds and Team Secret waiting for the easy pickings, and they are done. Now Twisted Minds up against Team Secret, a 4v3 in favor of the Vietnamese.
Team Secret, we're expecting for them to start off on Group and Game 1 itself here for Group B, but they figured out how the play was from every team, and now with 16 total eliminations, all their 4 players standing, they're looking forward to a booyah. What they did in the SCA Grand Final Spring, they want to start off just like how we ended up seeing Evo's Divine. It seems like Team Secret have found the secret recipe.
And this is the identity that has been missing, same as Twisted Minds, who are still looking for who they were back in their prime, but Team Secret roaring to life. Led by some of the brightest stars, T-Quay out in front, Ngan by his side, right the corner, dropped it onto the bars to narrow down the battlefield, exposing next on the list, and Diamond will be dispatched in just a moment. T-Quay around the corner, Team Secret with 19 eliminations and a booyah.
This is a big game coming in from Team Secret, and especially for Vietnam itself, to see their squad after just pulling off the SEA title, and now they're pulling it off here in EWC, here in Paris.
If there's any doubts whether Spring was a fluke or a stroke of luck, this should quell some of those questions. There's still more to be proven. This could still be the stroke of luck that people have been forcibly saying is part of the narrative. But if there's one thing there's a constant, is that Team Secret has some of the most gifted players. Since T-Quay joined the squad, they have been not the same, they have been different, but in a positive way. And in this case, even our side reporter, our colleague Yunsu, is going to be very happy with the turnout. Last time a Vietnamese team was in EWC, it was back in 2024 in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. That was PE Sports, but they had a subpar performance. They missed out 25. Team Secret, they have a lot of weight on their shoulders, and they're starting it off good.
They are indeed. I think the game itself compared to game number 1 to game number 2 quickly changes, and you could see no desperation. It was just the holding off, the consistency, the commanding play that they had, right? We spoke about them. They were already at the edge of the wall. They could have taken a fight if they wanted, and they could have jumped the wall, gone towards Twisted Minds. They could have moved towards either the fight between MIB Loss or Fluxo happening. They did not. They held their fort. They knew where the circle was shifting, and they gave that time. They knew when they strike for a booyah.
An eye for opportunity indeed, and that is perhaps the secret recipe. That's what's going to carry Team Secret all the way. But we also have fans from S8UL Esports right here in Paris, in the arena. There's still a lot more to give, of course. This is just the beginning of what is going to be a fantastic and adventurous journey for our teams in Group B. But I think in this case, we have MIB Los, Brazil starting off strong in Game 1. We have Vietnam on the board in Game 2. Now we're looking for the Indonesians and the Thais to make a splash in the upcoming games.
While you're looking at the SEA, I want to look at the South Asian team, Straw Hats. I did have high expectations, not ready for it. And that wary situation of the unknown, they're not ready for it. Same goes for S8UL as well. individually, we saw Troll, the magic coming in on the sniper. He is just too sharp so far. But as a whole squad, they're just not in the position that they want to feel comfortable in.
And I think it's just about getting that polish, right? Making sure that all the cogs turn in the same direction. I gotta give a special shout out to Al Ali Esports.
Oh, yes.
They had some great moments off screen. We might not see them in on full display, but they were the ones that brought forth the downfall of Fluxo W7M in Game 2. Of course, that was instantly converted by Lion right after that, thanks to that RGS from the side of the Latam representatives. But Al Ali, this is a team. The banner might be new, but the players have been here for quite a while. Reminds you folks, they've had a couple of attempts, so I can't wait to see what they have left to show us. But for now, we're gonna get a room of breather, and we'll be right back with more Free Fire action.
And we are back here on stage. I'm Carol Bombshell, happy to be here with my friend Barney. He's the man, guys. And we are here with Iago, the sniper for Team Lowe's. Maybe our Lowe's, right, Barney?
That's right. Let's do this. Carol's gonna kick things off and ask us some very interesting questions. It's gonna be good.
Of course. Okay, Iago. So recent form hasn't been great. So how good does it feel to kick off at EWC with a Buia? Ok, a primeira partida, a gente sabe que vocês não performaram tão bem quanto vocês gostariam nos últimos jogos, nas últimas partidas, apesar da final do Free Fire ter sido muito boa para vocês, né? Mas ainda assim não conseguiram levar o título. Como é que é para vocês chegarem aqui e já começarem com um Buia aqui no EWC?
É muito bom.
Sorry.
É muito bom, é claro que todo mundo fica muito ansioso para jogar, então é muito importante a gente chegar com um Buia já, que já tira aquele peso, tira aquela ansiedade toda, e a gente consegue jogar bem melhor e ficar mais de boa, tirar a ansiedade do corpo.
Okay, so for sure, start with a Buia, give us such a feeling of relax, and we can get more secure about our game, and we have also a good chemistry all together. So we start with a Buia at AWC, for sure. It's the best thing that we could have done today.
I mean, the synergy looks great, Iago. You guys look like performing really well. Let's stay on map 1, okay, because I want to talk about the final moments. You guys went up against Fluxo in that final showdown against your regional rivals. How did it feel after that map, realizing that you went up against them and you beat them? That must have been a nice confidence boost.
Basicamente, vocês chegaram no endgame junto com o Fluxo, então nós gostaríamos de saber qual que é o sentimento de chegar no endgame contra um time brasileiro também, ainda sendo o Fluxo, que é um dos seus maiores rivais na Liga Brasileira, né? Então, qual que é o sentimento de conseguir um Buia em cima deles?
Bom, primeiramente é muito bom, por conta que eles estão no final, é muito bom pra gente também, pra os dois conseguir a classificação pra final. E também é muito bom, né, ter aquela rivalidadezinha, tipo, do BR. E continuar aqui também vai ser muito bom e, se Deus quiser, disputar também com eles também.
For sure, it's really nice to have a Buia over Fluxo, but most because it's really nice to have Fluxo in the end game with us, because we are, in the end of the day, both of the teams are Brazilians, and we do get good points together, but also we have this rivalry back in Brazil, and beat them here at the EWC feels very nice. Okay, Iago, for us to finish, you are known in Brazil as Thanos because of all the championship rings that you have won. Would you add a AWC title, take your legacy to another level? Você tá ligado que você é conhecido como Thanos no Brasil, né? Então, você acha que você garantir mais um título, especialmente do EWC aqui, ajudaria o seu legado a ficar cada vez maior?
Com certeza, meu legado já com certeza é muito forte. Ganhando a EWC em si fica inexplicável. Para mim já é muito inexplicável, mas é um grande sonho meu também, sonho do meu time em conquistar a EWC.
Okay, so win EWC definitely would add up at my legacy. In my legacy, of course, it will make me stronger in Brazil. I will have a stronger image in Brazil and in any another region that plays Free Fire, but this is my dream. I want to win a EWC. That's definitely my dream, and I will help my team win a EWC.
Well, after that first map, that dream can definitely come true. And with that being said, we are going to head over to a very, very quick... Well, we're just going to head over somewhere. We're going to come back very, very soon. Thank you so much for checking us out. Thank you so much, Iago, for joining us in this interview. We'll be back right after this.
It's the E cap, the EWC cap, the Esports. Heating up on stage at Fatal Fury Wolf City. And I don't know if you're picking up on the theme here, but Dark Angel fought his way out of the losers bracket to top the regional favorites and get another win for North America. If only the Football World Cup had been so kind. Well, guys, what is happening? 3 tournaments and 3 new champions, no title defense, no favorites able to compete, and all underdogs at the top? I'll tell you what it is, because I've said it before and I will say it again. This tournament is about the losers. See you next week.
Two matches are done for Group B. We started off hot with Brazil, but in this second one, it was none other than Team Secret, Conchita.
Yes, finally. This is the Team Secret that I've seen grab that title of the World Series Spring, and I think the organization that they have, the way of playing is what gets them here and what gets them the booyah. It's about time, actually, because I was really waiting for them to perform really well, and they did not disappoint at all. I mean, look at that.
They definitely didn't disappoint. 7 eliminations there for Hong Am, and one team that I know you were keeping a close eye on, Lace, is none other than Twister Minds.
I mean, this team, I guess if we take you back sort of to the online, didn't look too great. Okay, not looking too hot, but you know, they had a roster change, bringing in Diamond and X-Posi, and this was like almost caused a 180 for this team, and they are now in contention to sit in that sort of top spot. And I know me and Neptune were kind of like fighting on this before, like, I want to talk about Twisted Minds. If you saw that match 2 that they had to go through on the eastern side, I mean, they had an early altercation with MIBR. They had to retreat and regather on the eastern side. But that was kind of only thanks to RRQ, who came in and they're like, oh, I'm just going to be a little bit of distraction. They were able to sort of get away. And not just get away. Did you see that zone pull once in that final circle? I mean, they were sitting pretty. I was bound to see sort of a win there. But look, they did only have 3 players out of the 4, whilst, you know, they're going up against Team Secret with, you know, their whole entire squad. But the ability to adapt and change from Twisted Minds, don't leave them out of the conversation, guys, because they came to play, even in match 1 with like their 14 elims. They are Neptune wants to talk, guys. I'll pass it over. He's just as excited as I am.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's one reason why I'm excited to talk about Twisted Mind is because they are different this time. Back then, it was just all aggression. They want to go for elimination, and now they're playing with survivability. And even with that, like Jump was just, as you mentioned, just going into the sides until he reached Windmill, went in for a revive, and then even in the final phases of the circle, Twisted Mind is part of it. So this is not something that we often see from Twisted Minds.
Yeah, but speaking of differences, I'm actually a bit disappointed because we were hoping to see something more from Team Fatality, right? They are showing that being different is actually something that you can do to achieve a better result. But unfortunately, that's not what we see in the first two games. Right now, they are still kind of scattered at the 7th position overall with only 8 elimination points. That's kind of sad, actually.
Yeah, maybe they'll be able to turn it around. I mean, they are practicing something new. We were kind of hinting at it too. We didn't really know how it was going to go. Could have gone great, could have gone bad. But one team that did have a great performance there in that last match was Al Ali, Neptune.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they don't really expect that kind of performance, though. We're not aiming for the Booyah yet. They are just going for elimination, making sure that they are consistent with their placement point. And there was we're seeing a similar pattern here for those who are taking the top of the board. Just stay silent, make sure that you can go for elimination, aggression from a distance. That's what I can say. Go for those elimination out of the snipers. Just capitalize on that. I mean, Solara is one of that map, though you can move fast because of slide rails, but there's also a lot of elevation that you can work with to get all those eliminations.
I mean, you're talking about be aggressive from afar. Okay, all right, Vitality. I mean, you got 2 snipers. Maybe we'll start seeing that. One team that was able to actually be even more aggressive there in that second match was none other than RRQ, as we're going to be taking a look here at the overall ranking. Fluxo with 38 points. And Fluxo, honestly, Neptune, they started off hot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're getting back-to-back squad wipe. I would say it was still a slow lobby. I would say for the first 2 or 3 phase, but you've seen how well they hunt their opponents. They know the rotation of what will be taken or needs to be taken to choose their fight. They're not going in a little bit too careless at that point, and that has been the strategy of Fluxo right now. And given that there's not so much of the giants, the titans, I would say that's part of Group A. Group B, they are just wrecking it.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about that strong start from teams, right? Come out of the gate swinging, and that's exactly what Fluxo did. 15 eliminations, I believe, in match 1, giving them that incredible strong start, and obviously showcasing that on the leaderboard. But Les, how can you not be hyped with what's going on for Team Fluxo behind us? we talk about the mentality of players, right?
Yep.
How could you not be hyped having this whole entire crowd just playing drums and singing your song? It's absolutely incredible, and it's working for them. Can I have a crew that follows me around with drums and slice when I'm napping, wake me up and stuff? Can I get a production? Can I get that organized? Thank you.
They were absolutely non-stop during the matches. Right now, that's when they're kind of calm because they're being able to relax a little bit. But going back, we saw RQ there trolling with just 13 points. I know this is one team that you were very high on, Conchita. How are you with their performance so far? You didn't want them to start off slow. They did bring it back in that second match.
Yeah, one thing for sure is that I think we really need to reconsider talking about our favorite team in the beginning of the show, because there is some serious jinxing going on. It happened with Aurora before, and now it happened with RRQ now. What the hell? From now on, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. But yeah, in all seriousness, I think RRQ, well, the first game, obviously, it wasn't a great start at all. Being the first team to get sent back to the lobby was honestly quite embarrassing for a team in their caliber. But then again, it's what really lit the fire under their asses, I think. Because if we see what happens in the second game, I think they are getting slightly better. They are trying to learn more about their opponents. And that's what exactly what they did.
They're so humble. That's so nice. You guys get some limbs and we'll just get them late. What a humble team. We knew this from the start.
They're getting a breather. They're getting a breather.
Yeah. Oh, well, but I do think that they're learning a little from the mistakes that they did in the first game, and hopefully they're just going to keep climbing up the ladder. But for now, I'm not feeling it still. I am not. I mean, looking at the statistic itself, 9th position, 13 points, 13 elimination points. What the hell is that?
But then again, I mean, in Southeast Asia, they were dubbed the masterminds.
Yeah, the
so
bomb.
that's a possible reason where she's coming from, studying their opponents and probably bring something in. But one thing that I want to see is, we've seen that in game number 2. Mal was left alone, even a sniper. He couldn't defend himself because he doesn't have the weapon. But on Clash Squad, where it's a different mode, he was practicing those CQCs. So if we can bring that to Battle Royale, then that's one thing that they can do. Just to make sure that they can survive and not be caught off guard, similar to what we've seen often happen, especially if there's snipers, the one left behind.
Yeah, I keep saying that if EFOS has Russia at the center stage, I do believe that Mal should be given more chance to take the spotlight in RRQ, because he actually got what it takes. And again, he's also one of the youngest players that is playing for RRQ. So yeah, I think it's just a great opportunity for him to really shine and do what he's able to do best.
It could be just first game jitters. That's what we're going to throw up the first game too, because they did end up bouncing back on that second match. Now, as we're getting closer here towards the second half of their series, almost closer towards the end of day 1 of Free Fire at EWC 26, we do need to see a bit of a reaction. I know there's some other squads that we want to see a reaction, because we don't want to see what happened there earlier on with Group 8. I'm going to be looking. We just talked about them. Team RQ, Team Vitality, and Lucifer. I know you're currently looking at SAUL Esports. You gotta wake them up, Lucifer.
Indeed, I agree, Seven, that SAUL Esports have to pick it up, because Troll individually has done big, but I think the entire name of the game, at least in Group B so far, is that you have to adapt. We ended up seeing Team Secret, who were very silent in the game number 1, instantly adapted to game number 2, and now they're all in, got their booyah already. Even Twisted Minds did not have a great start. But on the other end, Fluxo. So far, this entire lobby of Group B Husky hasn't seemed wayward running away from somebody.
Yeah, we have slightly tighter margins, right?
Exactly.
Like, it's not like after game 2, we see a very top-heavy lobby, which is very good, because I think even up to the 7 and 8 spot, there's a pretty good chance that they can make it in the top 4 by the end of this evening. Speaking of which, I do, want to bring out some of the points that our experts have kind of put out on the table. I think, RQ, I gotta say, Conchita, my heart goes out to you. Third time could be the charm.
Could be.
It could be the charm. Vitality, though, that still looking for that magic, right? Again, I think Solara has always been the map that I look forward to for Team Vitality, because I feel like that is sort of what is going to light the fuse for them to come online. But in this case, it was completely extinguished in the mid-game, and now it begs the question of where else is Vitality going to able to kickstart that engine?
One thing that we know, where we are heading here for game number 3, that's going to be towards Purgatory. Whereas heaven or hell, it's time for teams to show up. And maybe, as Seven mentioned, SAUL Esports, they rise to the occasion, picking up eliminations. Yes, like how RRQ did, it's also time for placement points.
Placement points integral if you want to talk about potential tiebreakers at the end of the day. Very rare occasion, but it's always good to have some insurance policy. And in this case, I'm looking forward to see if teams are going to go to Moat House, because when we saw Group A, no teams actually like to go there. You play around the perimeter on the southern side of the Moat House, but if I remember correctly, memory serves, Twisted Minds should go north side, and in this case, they have company in the form of Mia Corp.
Now, Mia Corp have not had a great start so far. They're looking at around 6 points, similar to what Straw Hats. I think these are the only two teams that are a little bit of an offset compared to the entire 10 lot that we have, who are looking closer, tighter, as you already mentioned, and the fight already breaking out between these two. Looking at it, Twisted Mind should have the upper hand, and there it goes. Diamond, he already gets the opening. And that's the very first elimination. But a quick answer back by Nix. But can he pick up the elimination? Can he confirm it? That's going to be crucial. Kappa trying to use the chrono and confirm the elimination, but it's not working in their favor. They're about to lose another, and Kappa also goes down. More players from Mia Corp dropping one by one in the hunt for just to pick one elimination against Twisted Minds. But finally the opening, Diamond is down, and Nix answering back towards the sides of Twisted Minds.
This is going to be a tough one, but Jump actually gets eliminated by the AK-47 of Nix, and he comes out Prevail. Now has to take that car away. SAUL showing up to the occasion, blows up the vehicle, and unfortunately there's no escape route this time as he pays with his life, but at least there is some significant damage dealt to Twisted Minds as they are down to the last member, and we did discuss about this. They love Moat House, but in this case, they are trapped at Moat House.
One thing for sure, just like how we ended up seeing this fight, is you cannot be weighing the scale on just one team. It could change within the blink of an eye. Twisted Minds had the upper hand over there, but instantly turned around Mia Corp and now SHUL Esports. And similarly, Troll Gaming have to do some magic right as now. Spotting the player, Joker from Lion, breaking the glue wall open. Not the best weapon for Aztec, but he had his teammate on the other end, and Vota pushing him into his crosshair, and they find the knock. Confirmation to follow as well. And Troll Gaming this time going a rather aggressive approach at the very start, finding the next knock as well, and that's going to be Aztec.
Sets it up for Wota and confirms one himself as well. Total Gaming up to 2. Hacks the third one to get chased down, and it's Mafia with the Car 98. So make it 3 for the Indian team. But the job is not done just yet. They might have weathered the storm and sent Lion packing temporarily, but RRQ has just shown up in the compound, attracted by the gunfire, the noise of bullets flying in the air. And let's see if Total Gaming can hold a candle to the Kings of Kings.
It is going to be tough. Of how we ended up seeing RRQ without getting any point, going down in game number 1 and instantly in game number 2, 13 total eliminations. If they had placement points, they'd have looked at the top 5. And now they have an opportunity. But Total Gaming, they took an aggressive foot forward. Can they continue that is something that we have to wait and approach for. But Ali, this team from the very beginning have been surprising every squad and now challenging Fluxo, taking the player but sent down. And Fluxo in trouble. MT7's also spotted. Hawk will try to take him down with his crosses, sneaking through. Can he find the hit on the Car 98? But no, so far. And somehow Fluxo will be able to make a run.
And RQ has done some significant damage to Total Gaming. 2 of them go down! But Mafia responds in kind and gives himself the third RRQ, shattered in an instant.
Everybody who watches Total Gaming in India, they know what Mafia is capable of. If he is in form, the entire squad will rally with him. And it seems like in game number 3, they've decided. And Mahal, again the last man. Neptune spoke about this. Being a sniper, the last man is not at all the best way to play it. If that Suzy passive works out, he has a lot of coins. He does it at this point, but it's only 1300. Not a full squad revive, but he'll still manage to do something because it's the early game.
Yep, and he's forced to backtrack as well because you have Bunny from S8UL Gaming on that low ground. No vending machines inside Ma'ao. With the weight of the entire team on his shoulders, just like the previous game. He's done it once, but there's only a limit to how much revives he can bring back before the weight crushes him. Check back with RQ in just a little bit. Straw has now showed up the compound of Mia Corp, who are just vacating that spot, but you gotta look back at this moment when Ma'ao gets the setup to his team, finds 2, but immediately the response came in from Mafia to get even more damage done.
Wait, Mal? He takes the zip line. Heading back, RRQ, he did not get the revive. Yeah, this was a very risky approach. Shanky, if he knew that was happening through the zipline, he could have taken him down. But Mahal making a run. Shanky has spotted him, but I think he will be able to manage. No! He gets blown! Oh! Just in time. Rans and Dots get picked. And they're back in action. They'll be flying up, but almost Shanky got him. And he would have taken that knife and driven through RRQ and out of this game.
Yeah, by his deathbed, he brings 2 of his teammates back and keeps the heart of RRQ beating. And for now, Ma'ao has done his duty, and it's up to both the captain and the young gun to keep that legacy going and see if RRQ can make it further down the road. We're looking at a total of 16 points for now, barring, as we excluding the placement points. Vitality also, another team that we're looking for magic. And I can't believe I'm saying this, Lucifer. When we came into today, and I thought that EVOS is going to be the team that struggles the most out of the 3 Indonesians, but that was not the case, right? EVOS, even though we've only won Booyah, did finish top 4 in Group A. And right now, it's Team Vitality who are struggling the most.
I think we were having this discussion, right? When we were talking about maybe they also themselves were telling us that maybe it was just an experimental phase down in SES Spring. And it actually looks, they are able to deliver results here on the EWC stage.
A part of me actually didn't want to believe it. I thought that they were,
we did.
I thought it was an excuse.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
But no excuses for Twisted Minds. They almost had control of it, and this time they're taking an approach to a couple of the isolated players from Straw Hats who went all the way to Moat House. Not an approach that we've seen in the recent times of Free Fire that anybody heads in that direction. An isolated, desolated land of Moat House, but Straw Hats they think that's the safe haven because they are losing players. As you can see, Twisted Minds clear their position at the edge of the shore, and Straw Hats had to go for another revive, get the player back up. And the circle, thankfully for Twisted Minds, move north.
Yeah, actually a blessing in disguise. PLS1, they're gonna drop with the remind there, so Al-Ali will have to halt their rotation for now. And Team Secret, they're not gonna wait. Riding off the momentum of Game 2, where they had a fantastic sequences of events that led to the Booyah. Let's see if they can feed off of that energy. As Al-Ali, they've shown us that they can fight, and they will fight back.
They will. They've been at the top of the charts, but so do Team Secret want to get in that direction. This time trying to try and find an opening. So far they've not found. Rather they've found and received damage. They've been forced to back off. And there is it. TQ has been taken down. Now on 7, he's also been spotted. Oh God! He doesn't get anything to say. Had the launcher in the hand and will be launched back into the lobby. Nothing else. Now on 7, he's also spotted. Went to the vending machine and he turns it around with the help of PLS1. And Team Secret, they bring it back.
PLS1 with the build out in the last second to cut down the ranks of Al-Ali, who seemingly had an advantage, but falls in the hands of PLS1 as he locks in an ace for his team. The 6th point in this game and the first team to wipe out Al-Ali in this lobby.
That was not thought of. I was Al-Ali almost looking in control, but anything can happen is what Group B is the game of.
I can't believe it. PLS1 left to his own devices and was able to work magic.
Exactly.
3 consecutive shots to take down 3 individual rushes, running at his teammate. That is the kind of support that we need. That is what defined this current meta, where snipers are everything. They mold the world and they shape the results. And Team Secret now in a powerful spot.
And so is Lion. Rawan with that Winchester. Picking up a couple in his name. Drop the player, quick on the confirmation as well. Team Secret, after finding a full-on wipe, they have another challenge right in front of them. That's going to be Fluxo. The roaring fans right here in Paris. And now they have a challenge in front to try and push out Team Secret. It's not been easy. From game number 2, the pacing, and especially after what PLS1 did. And look at his position. I don't think they have an idea about it. And if he starts hitting, and he does, MAD to B, he puts Bobs down, and trouble already striking for Fluxo. And they cannot get closer. Bobs wants to get closer to his teammate Butson, but that's not going to happen because there's the Bolt Maker also called. Could be trouble here for Fluxo, but there might be a disguise of blessing by Twisted Minds if they decide to take a fight with Team Secret.
Potential 3-way fight here. Team Secret having a bit of a compound to work with, and on top of that, a vending machine right at their doorstep. So any emergency supplies or revives can be achieved. And Fluxo now going to step on the gas. PLS1 out of there with the launch pad to reconvene with the rest of his team and complete the rendezvous. So dodging a bullet, but putting themselves in the vicinity of Twisted Minds. But fighting one team is better than 2. Fluxo could take this opportunity to get a couple of free points.
That was one of the smart moves coming in from Fluxo to make sure that they go behind the sniper and not give him position. And now Twisted Minds have the advantage of it because all the players from Team Secret have been crunched. They've been forced to be together, and Twisted Minds like this. Diamond on the flank. He spots the players, but Fluxo, KO! He puts Diamond down from afar. This is the problem. When you let another team take control of a position, especially in the circle, they feel a lot more confident. Now Fluxo, that's what they're feeling. Now they're chasing the players. Bobs, the man who was knocked by Team Secret, is now wanting to revenge for that action.
Yeah, Fluxo really pushing forward right now. They had control of the safe zone. They could play gatekeeping, but they wanted more. And in this case, thankfully for Team Secret, nothing of value was lost. Even the vehicle wasn't completely wrecked, so they could rotate up to the high ground. And in fact, right now, because the circle doesn't hurt as much just yet, Team Secret could set up shop on this high ground and actually scout out the area before making a future rotation. There's also a zip line that they could utilize in times of emergency, but the decision will be made to cross past the northern side of the map and get around both Twisted Minds and Fluxo.
This fight has been going back and forth. Twisted Minds trying to kind of itch towards Team Secret and Team Secret as well. It happened in the previous game, but right now it has to conclude because if Twisted Minds do not get taken down, then it's going to be Team Secret. Flash freeze being used, the dash coming out from the bars, but he couldn't find an opening, and there PLS1, he turns it around. He puts the player Diamond down and he's in trouble. Jump the bars as well as Exposy need to do something, but it's only Exposy who finds PLS1, but maybe it's a little too late.
A bit of a consolation prize right there for Exposy, but still the rest of Twisted Minds have already been eliminated and Exposy joins them in the grave. And Team Secret finds another wipeout here. First starting with Al Ali and now following it up with Twisted Minds. They should have no problem bringing their teammate back. There's a vending machine right in front.
Yep.
And right in the safe zone as well. And they can get there on time. Seems like everything is laid out for Team Secret to potentially make it to the final stage again.
Could be a back-to-back. Not something that we've not seen. We've already seen in Group A that happened. Maybe Team Secret try to replicate the same for their own. And there is the revive. But on the other end, Fluxo, it seems like they've found players from SATUL and they're troubling them. And on top of it, RRQ find Mia Corp. And that's going to be an end for Mia Corp. They've not been having a great start at all here in Group B. They've been at the bottom of the charts. They need to pick up pace. But Fluxo, they've been picking it up. They're at already the top of the charts. The only thing that they're missing is the Booyah. Game number 1, they're very close. Game number 2, they couldn't. They got taken down. But now, if they fight Team Secret and put them down, the challenges for Booyah will be swept out.
And this is round 2. They put Team Secret in a very uncomfortable spot, but Team Secret conquered that hurdle and now are back for revenge. Gio with the push on forward, Gluor goes down, but instantly from Captain Bobs at the setup, and Fluxo have cut Team Secret down to just PLS1, who was brought back early on. But can PLS1 get the build out again? Doesn't seem like it is going to be a reality this time. Fluxo coming out on top.
PLS1 again quickly running away. He was the saving grace. Yes, an ace was found, but now no challenge for him to take the player down. He had to go out of the zone. An extra effort that he has to put and win it out. But on the other end, the team who's putting a lot of efforts after getting their very first Booyah here in Group B. That's going to be MIB a loss. They did lose out a player, but they already have 8 eliminations. Playing inside the circle, but Koja with the dually puts the last player of SHL Esports down. It's not working for them yet. They've not found their winning ways. These young guns are missing their player, their captain Prince, and they are not able to yet adapt in such a highly competitive pace.
And a different story for Team Vitality this time, racking up double digits in terms of elimination as Yago cleaned up the remnants of Team Secret. No more back-to-back this time. 5 teams remain. Fluxo looking incredibly healthy, same as Vitality, as both teams have gone on a tear. But there's a very good chance that we see RQ run up the causeway and into Total Gaming, who are controlling both areas. MT7 finding a sneaky one from behind. Abai right into the fire. And of course gets the burns to a crisp.
That was a very quick save coming in, and that's the reason I was talking about how crucial Mafia is. He lets them all rush through and back again into the game. All 4 men standing, Total Gaming ready for this Final 4 standoff. MIB are lost are the only team who have a 3-man playoff that they have to go against the 4 lot of all the survivors we have.
Will be the first time on the world stage that a team from India gets a Booyah, and how close are we to that, Lucifer? Dreams can come true, and we take it a step at a time. Total Gaming has to face off against MIB Outlaws, and Haone is the one that gets the upper hand. The Winchester, Zebank, up against Fluxo on the other end. VSS doing a magic there, but Shanky has been brought back up. The nades now come true. Riptide Rhythm unleash. Yago in danger, but still putting up a bit of a resistance to pin down the members of Total Gaming, but they're in the face of MIB Outlaws. General takes out Water. The members of TG cut down to just 3.
General bringing it down to a 3v3, troubling Total Gaming, and now Total Gaming with the zone closing in. They are forced out of space. MIB Outlaws are able to hold their own. Aztec gets taken down by Yago with the sniper. Confirmation coming through. Shanky a little too late to just find a knock there. And MIB Outlaws for India, who wanted to see if there could be a Booyah. They put those dreams to rest for now. And MIB Outlaws are not stopping there. Yoga again once more picks up on Godzin. That's going to be on Fluxo. And MIB Outlaws might be looking forward to another Booyah. And Yago already at 7 total eliminations.
And Koja speeds up that process. The nade takes out Bobs. And unfortunately, Diggs is now going to be in the crosshairs of MIB Outlaws. Haone with the rush as well. Team Vitality, they actually have more members. Diggs with the rush through. Getting tagged, but not down just yet. Yago with the confirmation. Someone needs to stop this guy. He has won a world championship in this banner, and the Team Vitality is letting him run loose. Yago again! With Fim on the Zebank, looking for a conversion. General leads the charge. Team Vitality getting picked apart, and everything set up by Yago. MIB Outlaws with the second Booyah.
It looks like Brazil is here in EWC for the title, taking it away from SEA, taking it from any other region because they've been looking for it. They have conquered the world stage once, but EWC is something that they've been missing for a long time. And what a game coming in from MIB Alos, especially Yago. That man to hold his own on the sniper when players are rushing. 8 total eliminations on his own.
Insane performance. Last year, when Los was on the cusp of victory, they were the only team from Brazil that had a chance to win Champion Rush. They were denied. But that time, Yago wasn't with them yet. And he could be the missing piece. He was what won Magic Squad that FFWS Global Finals in 2023. He was the one that showed that Skylar still has value when everyone else has forgotten about that character. 2024, he got dispatched, not a part of Fluxo. MT7 took his spot and won that trophy. But right now, under the banner of MIB Outlaws, he is reminding everyone who he used to be.
This is just incredible to pull off like this, and especially when we have teams who want to make sure that they get their very first booyah. There might be a loss already having 2 of their own. And look at it. It just seemed like point and shoot for him. That was the POV for us. It didn't look like he had a bit of an hassle. He had to look for opponents. They were right in front, just put up the scope, and the players were taken down one after another. And you can see the happy faces of MIB a loss. That's another victory that they get for themselves. A booyah that will be written in their overall rankings to put them on the top of the charts.
They've technically already won the tiebreakers in a way, right? 2 booyahs is not easy to achieve, but if there's a team that has put ahead, I think we just found it. MIB Outlaws, really just incredible performance, right? We were looking for teams to hit the ground running, but we are also looking at the same time for them to close out strong, because that what matters the most. And I think MIBR, they have the recipe for both of their category.
Yeah.
They hit the ground running, and they've closed out strong 3 games in a row.
Right now, see, we've done with almost the halfway, if you want to call it. Yes, we have 12 games in total, but at least for day 1 of the group stages, Group B has played their 3 games. They should have understood the whole lobby. Now, if you take one team out, there's 11 other teams that they have to understand of what they need to do better off. And let's hope they start doing better, because right now, they are taking a quick breather, and they will be jumping back into the lobby. So you guys don't go anywhere.
I think the setup is literally crazy, and the vibe of the whole stadium is literally good. And this is the first time I streaming this time I selected for the co-stream, and this is the first time, and the 3 Indian teams are there, and hopefully they will do very good. We are expecting a very good matches. Let's see.
All right, now tell me what it's been like being in Paris this year.
Yeah, I think, might be it's about we are lucky that the Bastille Day, I think yesterday we saw the Eiffel Tower and the fireworks and the many, yeah. There is a very good show, and we have been we are very lucky to have the EWC and the same thing happening in the, I think, around same date.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you can be biased in this question, okay?
Okay.
Who is your favorite to win the whole thing here for Free Fire?
I think for sure, I want that our team will win. So we have 3 teams: Asset12, IQ Toll Gaming, and Team Apex Gaming.
Yep.
So I don't for Team Apex Gaming, it's not a very good start. But hopefully they will come back tomorrow, because today we score only 41 points. But let's hope for best for the Asset12 and IQ Toll Gaming, because I think they did a very good start. But we have 4 games remaining, so let's see.
Yeah. We still have not only 4 games remaining in this, but lots of gameplay left so far in Free Fire. So we'll have to see how everybody does. And I don't want to take you away from your chat for too much longer. So thank you so much for chatting with us. You know, enjoy the rest of the series.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, it's Face and Kachita here to bring you more of the storylines from Free Fire. And I think Buriram United Esports better watch out because MIBL just got their second booyah.
Yeah, that was amazing. 3 games and 2 booyahs. That is quite something for MIBR. But also, we need to talk about Team Secret because for a second there, I thought this was going to be their game. They wiped out Al Ahly and then they wiped out Twisted Minds. And if I remember correctly, they won the FFWS Spring 2026 by getting consecutive booyahs, back-to-back booyahs, and I thought it was something that they would actually achieve again on the 3rd game, but unfortunately that wasn't the case because MIBR are surely the strongest contender now.
And I mean, Team Secret and Twisted Minds kind of are forming this little bit of rivalry, if you've noticed. In those first couple of matches, it was them in that final zone. Then in that previous game there, they had an altercation in kind of the northwestern side as well. But it looks like Team Secret just have that little extra secret sauce to be able to take out Twisted Minds, and they don't seem to get their footing.
Yeah, but speaking of MIBR, once again, that last circle, girl, that was so intense. That was crazy intense. And to see that they're now at the 4th place with 31 points, 18 elimination points. I think you're right. Buriram United Esports better watch their back. I mean, we still got 3 games to go. Anything can still happen, right?
And if we've seen it in Free Fire. So, you know what? I feel like it might be happening. Can they get a 4th? I don't know, it's going to be a little bit exciting, but to be able to achieve that sort of thing in the starting rounds, I mean, MIBL, y'all better be watching them because 3 booyahs is coming their way. But of course, I know we're very much itching to get into those next matches. Lucifer, do you think MIBL is going to be able to achieve that 3rd booyah?
Yes, there could be another opportunity here for MIBR. They've been looking really good. And the action that they brought in, they've put themselves on the top of the charts. A total of 62 points, 37 eliminations. And as you guys already pointed out on stage that maybe Buriram might have to watch out. Yes, Evo's Divine do not have to be worried about, but a close competitor very soon.
Yeah, very, very close. In fact, MIBR was actually a big competitor to BRU last year in Ria.
Yeah,
you know,
there you go.
It's coming together, baby. It's coming together. That's what makes Free Fire such a competitive and fun esports title. A lot of times, and that's why it's hard to escape the allegations that, hey, we predetermine some of these things. As I gotta say, it's so intertwined right now. You can step on any part of the machine and something will fall into place. But one thing that has yet to fall into place is where do we place RQ again?
I'm not sure. I think we have to ask Conchita as well as Neptune again because they've been the ones who've been talking about it. And hey, I don't know if there's a jinx, but maybe something that we will look later towards. But I think there could be an opportunity where RRQ now recover, right? They've had an idea what Team Secret is doing. MIBR lost on the other end on a spree. Looking forward to Yago of how he's been sniping across, and Fluxo almost getting to all the top 4s in the final fights.
And we did say that the second half of the matches for Group B theoretically should be ID favorite. Theoretically should be RQ and Team Vitality that gets put under the microscope again. Nixaro, Kalahari, Nixaro. It starts with here. And honestly, I think on Nixaro, I look at RQ. We're not looking at #1 placement stats, but it's good enough, right? It's good enough to suffice for RQ to give us something to be happy about. I think same for Team Vitality. Lion going over to Intellect Center, a very less desired spot. But we also have S8UL against Straw Hats. Actually, Straw Hats are very spread out.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate, very early clash that we're seeing at Deca Square happen right now. And Straw Hats are already looking at the bottom, and it seems like it could be trouble. But as we look at our stats, we can see S8UL are the ones who are dropping the numbers, and S8UL, they are also close to those bottom 2 that we've been talking about. And teams need to now start worrying, because as we have reached the halfway mark, if everybody doesn't start jumping in to figure out if they start losing points, it is trouble. They'll miss out on opportunities. They'll miss out to getting back towards the top 4 or at least staying in the 10, because if they're in the bottom 2, they will be eliminated.
Yeah. I think at least in this case, we saw a bit of a disengage that spot was taken over by RRQ as they fill in the void. So now RRQ Straw has problem. SAUL escaping with one remaining member. Pincer Tech coming in. We get a quick replay of this earlier clash that we saw on the radar. And unfortunately, SAUL just hit the ground running slightly slower.
Yeah.
And the Mini Uzi can make a lot of difference in this early game. And unfortunately, these 1v1s didn't really go in favor of SAUL. Straw Hats coming out on top with 3 points. 4 points, in fact.
I think there was a better rebound between the players of Straw Hats and especially their abilities, their skills coming into play. But right now, the action keeps striking. Straw Hats did not have enough time to get back their resources to go for the fight, and RRQ, they had enough time. They're picking up the players. They confirm 2 of them and get 2 eliminations. Nil is also stuck, Riptide Rhythm, and that is going to be his defenses blown open. And with that, that's going to be a 3rd elimination. And we were mentioning, where do we place RRQ? This is where, always looking at eliminations, they somehow find it. Placement points is something that they have to add on to this aggression.
It is a team that started off slow, but the past 2 games have had great performances. Maybe not so great in Game 3. They did kind of fumble in the middle, but we also got to give props to the teams that took them down, right? MMBR loss was quite the force. Total Gaming as well, finishing 4th on that map. As I say, Total Gaming, Mafia shows up on the feed, taking out Bunny. Fluxo also in that altercation, as Diamond gets gunned down as well. Team Secret with the 3rd.
It seems like a lot of flurry eliminations are happening. Vitality also picking up on Fluxo, MT7 out of the play, but instantly Vatsin gets the player revived. So it's just back and forth for the time being, and the player who just got revived just got picked mid-air. So Fluxo have another effort to add on to go to the vending machine. But Mafia, the man who picked up the elimination, spots another opponent right in front of him. Riptide isn't being used, but X-Strong, he's better because he had the max 7 and his teammate as a backup. And Mafia's down. So Total Gaming having this separated approach did not work for them to get another additional elimination. However, Straw Hats seems like they're recovering. They've had 5 eliminations so far at the start of this game.
And the revives keep on coming, right? We've seen so many bodies drop, so many points acquired by different squads, and yet we still have 43 again. It's gonna cycle. We're gonna cycle through these numbers for a bit while. As Jump finds a trade with him and a T-Quay. Team Secret, losing on numbers just a little bit. In the last game, they had to rely, and they could rely on PLS1. And here comes the savior. Diamond has that location locked down. PLS1 deny the pickup. It's still gonna come in onto it. The shoulder is showing. And fully denied. Twisted Mice this time will not let Team Secret walk away scot-free.
Unfortunate. 2 different angles in Team Secret. They get troubled. TQ as well as Nan7, they're the last survivors, and I think he might be taken down. Nan7 is also spotted. Diamond with his AUG puts him down, but the trouble is not done yet because Miyacorp, they entered into this fight. They want a bet in terms of eliminations because they've not had a great game so far in the start. 3 games done. This is game number 4. Miyacorp need to get back to those eliminations, need to get back to placement points, and they've found 3 so far. And Twisted Minds, they've now taken a little bit of a silent approach, but the boss, I know he is worried and spots the player while he was completely unwary of another team being available or for a fight, and instantly the boss puts him down and Miyacorp suffer a loss. But another team who suffered a big loss is going to be Team Secret, who are now swept out.
The boss now finds a second challenger, which is Nick. And he turns around and finds Josper. Another body slam in the face of Miyacorp. But the boss is hit on a one-man mission. John Wick style here. Can Nick find him though? I mean, the boss could still do some heavy damage, and all with the absence of his teammate. So can you imagine the amount of chaos they could rain on Miyacorp when the rest of Twisted Minds complete that rendezvous in that area? MIBR lost, playing on the outskirts this time, at the coastline. SAUL in front of them, and Rick B relays that information. The Dinoculus spawning slightly ahead, confirming the presence of no one. So now they can focus on the members of SAUL.
Oh no, big trouble. SATL Esports already receiving big damage. And MMBR lost it closer than they think. Rick B, he puts the player down. He knew what was happening. So he had already gotten closer to the haystack. And as soon as SATL decided to maybe go for a flank, the player instantly gets shut down. And Troll and Jack are now stuck in a building. Bunny way too far to help out. Troll will be taken down. Jack will be very soon found out. And Bunny, all he can do is run away, go for a revive. But Jack, he's thinking he wants to step out. Maybe look forward to an approach if there is save. But I don't think there is going to be a save button here for his teammate. All he can do is try to buy time for Bunny.
Yeah. And as long as Bunny can get out and get that revive, his job is done. Jack putting up a valiant fight. The result goes over to MIBR lost 10 eliminations already. Just short of minute 7. We just see the standout player was Yago in the previous game, who clocked in 9 eliminations on his own. And so far, I mean, MIBR loss have been outclassing Fluxo, right? I mean,
yeah.
As much as, again, I'm big fan of Fluxo, big fan of the legacy. Recent times, MIBR loss, ever since the loss in Riyadh last year, has really fueled something in them. You see the fire burning. And not to mention with Yago's addition to the squad, this team has powered up.
Big time. And we might be looking forward to another opportunity for MIBR loss. We saw the stage also talking about the same thing. But one team that I do want to see who have opportunity is going to be Lion. And now they've spotted Joel. And he was just out in the open, running across these tracks like he owned it. And Lion instantly put him down. In this game, Lion also has 4 eliminations. Seems like they are trying to move in the direction of finding a lot more elimination. But I'm surprised that we've not yet seen any elimination from Gamez or Games King, because he's been the MVP for their team. Rather, it's been Hax who's been picking up the weights on his shoulders.
Yeah. And it's something that I think they need to dig deeper to find, right? In this case, they could start with getting solid confirmations onto Team Vitality. Makes it 5 now. Again, you call back to Games Kings last year on the world stage. He has been a pillar of his squad. One of the youngest player in the entire tournament, but also one of the most gifted long-range players in a meta where snipers were sort of shoved aside, and he was the bright star. Right now, everyone is looking at him and all eyes are on him, and yet still leaving more to be desired. Axe tags kind of trace himself for 1. Total Gaming up to 2. Launchpad available to disengage from Lion.
Lion now getting hit upon by Total Gaming. Shanky puts Joker down, but quick trade coming in from Gamez. That's not going to be a confirmation. Oh, finally it is. So they do also lose a player. So even Total Gaming had to go for a quick revive. And Vota is the one who did that. Lion on the other end, they want to chase the player who went for the revive, the vending machine. And it's going to be Vota. He gets spotted. Winchester in hand for Hax, but he gets taken down with a rush coming in from Vota. And Vota all alone trying to hold himself off. Now Games King, he's closer, and Vota will be finally taken away because Joker from afar with the sniper puts him down.
Yep. Good attempt there from Vota to really keep Lion pinned down for the rest of his team to kind of recuperate themselves. So he gets revived regardless. So TG back to full force. This game's again slow. I mean, Game 3 was the game that had the faster pace.
Yeah, it did.
Now we're slowing down a little bit. I say we slow down just because we still have 39 players in the lobby. We cycle through plenty of reincarnations at this point. We've only lost 2 teams, Straw Hats and Team Secret. Everyone else pretty healthy.
This lobby of Group B itself tells you of how different from Group A this entire set of teams are.
Yes.
Because there, everybody was very hungry for eliminations, fights, back and forth. But here, everybody wants to read each other, understand each other, because they all know elimination is not the biggest threat, but it's about going into the finals directly. You mentioned about it. Miss that survival stage 10 games and walk into the finals, prepare better strategies and be ready for it. That's what they're eyeing for, and that is getting difficult for some of the teams to figure out, even though we are at game number 4.
Yeah, even when we look at the numbers, so far some of the accolades of these players, right? Yago, 3rd in line with the most eliminations. He has 13 in total, and 9 of them came from the previous game. Total Gaming now facing RRQ. Wota, who just came back into the lobby, got removed again. And Total Gaming's members cut down in half. Shanky might have to hold the fort here.
And they're not in the best of the position. Aztec, who just went in for the revive, his position's compromised. Fluxor going in for the chase. Shanky, he can't do anything because if he steps out, then another casualty strikes. And there it goes. The players in mid-air, Al-Ali, they pick out Vota once more. So nothing is working here for Total Gaming. Aztec, the man who went for the revive, he will also be taken down. And the bell is not ringing in the favor of Total Gaming. They were closer in the previous game, but in this game, they're still not able to figure out what works in their favor. But Vitality, they had to figure out, made a jump, but right into the crosshairs of Twisted Minds. 13 eliminations already, and they're looking forward to a lot more. And with the VSK Expose, he gets 1 more added to the team.
Bit of a distraction there that could give TG a breather to pick themselves back up and kind of put the pieces back together. But 11.5 minutes in-game time, there's really not much space to work around as Aztec gets brought back. Twisted Minds looking at 13 eliminations. RQ sitting right across. And also Fluxo in the vicinity as well. We did see the circle earlier on, centering around Boxing Gym and Deca Square, where MIBR Lost has basically hunkered down on the southern side of the safe zone. It could give them a good entry, get a couple of points under their belt, but I'm looking at Al Ali again.
Yeah.
Last game was the only game that they didn't make it that far, but now, in the 12-minute mark, Al Ali will have a good chance to prove themselves once more.
Right now, before Oli, we have Fluxo, who have another challenge. They've always looked closer to a Booyah, but they've never converted yet. This is game number 4, match number 4 that we're witnessing, and they still are trying to figure an approach where they'll be successful. But look at Lion. They knew that the flight with Fluxo will not work out in their favor. They wanted to rather be in the circle, quickly take the vehicle. Whether it gets destroyed or not doesn't matter at this point. Get to a compound, call it a safe haven so that you can fight out here on Nixaro, because as we still see 12 minutes of the game, it's about to be 13. The circle's now slowly about to close in the next 30 seconds, and every team is going to be forced to fight out, and it's getting closer to Deca Square, and if the fight goes to Deca Square, it's just open lands.
Yeah, I mean, that's a gate crash if I ever seen one, but Lion keeps themselves safely tucked in a compound that will keep them afloat for just a while. But this rotation of Twisted Minds might put them in front of MIBR Lost. Total Gaming in the fight with Lion.
Oh, no.
And the jaws of the Lion clams down. Total Gaming eliminated in an instant.
This is the reason we were talking about the compound, and Lion were very smart to act about it. Total Gaming did start off, but it did not work out. And now, after Total Gaming, it seems Lion have found their jaws with a lock-on towards SATL Esports. The fight is a little too far that's happening, but they're still able to hammer them down. That tells you of what Lion's also looking forward to, a recovery of a game. But recovery is not yet happening for Mia Corp. Fluxo find the last man, and they put an end to their run. And now RRQ also jump into this flagship battle of taking down SATL. On one end there is Lion, on the other end RRQ. Bunny gets hit, Noor right now in trouble, and Jack becomes the last man standing. Can he be the Jack of all trades? I don't think that's an opportunity for him to ask or even deliver on in such a small position with so many teams still surviving.
You did say there's a risk of fights getting caught out in open areas when the circle shrinks, and it's currently the reality that some of these teams have to deal with. As the circle starts closing in, the blue will force the movements of Lion straight into RQ's compound. The Riptide Rhythm doesn't really dissuade them just yet, but bait nade from Captain Dudes sets it up. Bobs also firing from behind with support from Gio on the high ground. Lion, no more.
Jack at least gets one in that mix, an additional elimination for SATL Esports, but Cobbs with that M60. Brilliant stuff being done, but SATL, they're not safe yet. The last man standing, Jack, he was initially kind of seen by Fluxo, but Fluxo, as the zone's closing in, they know they're not ready for this fight with Jack. They cannot just try to pin him down. Rather, they just jump in front, and Jack, he is peppering them down. Bobs is also knocked. 2 players from Fluxo in trouble with a quickly recovery. Having the Thiva as an advantage does help you in the nick of time.
But Gio was able to find him at the very edge of it. And that was enough to take him out of the equation. As we go down to just 5 teams, not all of them have the full squad left standing. Right out in the open is Fluxo and RQ ready to receive and challenge them up front. Abai leads the charge, and instantly RQ finds himself in the thick of it with a couple of knockdowns. Runs also steps up to the occasion. And the Jitters completely eliminated, and so does Fluxo.
RRQ. We were mentioning about them, talking about them, and now they place themselves in the top 3. This is what they wanted. They had placement. They did not have placement on their elimination, but Yago, stop this madman from MIBR Loss. He is just shooting players down like they're standing still targets. One more, Remind gets confirmed. And now MIBR Loss in trouble as Maal finds General. Rigby close by, Rawan getting closer. Yago has to be the saving grace. He has to pull them from the jaws of death from RRQ.
And I think it's very doable. Hawk could also be the X factor. Rigby gunned down again by Rans. Simokes is there. Awali with his save. If they make it far enough into the game, they can be one of the contenders, and here they are in top 3. With less than members to work with, but enough to threaten RQ and give MIBR Loss some breathing room. And this seems to be the reality right now. Those glue walls need to be taken care of because they need line of sight, and Hawk is making it incredibly difficult for RRQ to focus on the task at hand. So Rez gets sent in to eliminate Hawk from the equation, and now MIBR Lost makes it closer to the compound, but Ma'au, great on his shot, and right on the money, focuses down General, and MIBR Lost down to just 2.
It's trouble. They tried to tread the line as fast as possible, use that distraction, but it still did not work out. There was only one knock, and Abhay and Rance are in front of the game. They're already super aggressive. Ravan has already received damage. What magic can Yago do? He's out in the open. This time his sniper doesn't sing of any songs to look forward to elimination. It's going to be RRQ, Rance and Duts finding the very first booyah for Indonesia.
And the captain holds the hands of the young blood and leads him to the first booyah on the world stage. And that is the exact motivation that you need for RRQ. And unfortunately, for Ali, another heartbreaking loss in the final circle. And it's starting to show something that needs to be kept in check because we've seen them in the top 4. We've seen them at the podium, at least for the round itself. But it's about closing it out the game. We've seen the exact same performance from Dragons Esports last year. When it's not about the rotation, they're pretty smart about it, but it was about how you take those fights, and in this case, they are outgunned by their adversaries again.
As you can see, it seems like the plan over there in the last fight did not go in that direction. It could have been something else. They did not have to, or they did not intend to take the fight with RRQ. I think that's where everything messed up, and that is the reason we see the player a little bit heated up. That is not what we wanted to do. RRQ were already busy with MIBR Lost. We had to just time it perfectly, and if Al Ali did it, they could have another opportunity for their own booyah. But RRQ, we have to give kudos to them as well of how well they held themselves when the fight instantly turned from MIBR Lost to somebody they did not even think that was so close by, and they held themselves, and instantly on one end, how Fluxo, their fans have been roaring for so long. Now instantly it turns around to RRQ fans, and they're happy.
Yeah, I mean, again, you say that you have to stop Yago, and Yago was stopped in a different way, right? By eliminating everyone around him. But again, when MIBR took the opportunity of a distracted RRQ to make that rotation, RRQ, they understood the urgency, right? They took care of Al Ali as fast as possible and made sure that they still have eyes on the rotation of MIBR Lost, and that gave them more than enough resources and intel to get this booyah.
Now, with Al Ali already performing in such caliber, right? This is not a game they have to be upset about. Yes, emotions are high because everybody understands that every game is going to be crucial. Even Seven was mentioning, right? Consistency is going to be very crucial when you're in the group stages, especially if you want to make it to the grand finals directly. And I think that's what Al Ali thinks, and that is the reason we see emotions completely high at this time, especially of a game so close to a booyah. Nobody wants to miss or mess it up, and I think it does happen. That's what RRQ, for example, the first 3 games we barely saw them. 13 eliminations was the only explanation of RRQ being in the overall ranking. But now the booyah tells that there is chances of making a comeback. You have to just reset.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day is how you kind of finish the run, right? There's still chances left, and speaking of chances, we're going to give this team some room to take a breather and readjust themselves for the upcoming game. So don't go anywhere, stay with us, we've got more to come.
City, an activation right in the heart of the Esports World Cup. And let's be honest, you can't miss it. It is so bright, it looks incredible. This activation, we have VR, we have consoles, and we have simulators that you can take part in. It's so much fun. If you're going to the Esports World Cup in Paris, make sure you come down here. And my friend Luti is over here, my stunning co-host. How are you feeling?
I mean, I'm into golf now because football is over for me.
Oh dear, let's not talk about it anymore. Let's see how accurate you can be in this golf simulator. If there's one thing that I know, it is being a dad, gaming, and golf. And so this is my third one. Let's see your accuracy on this one. 82.3%. Luti, let's see if I can beat you.
I hope for you. I hope for you. Okay, Bunny, basically now it's your turn. And in life, you are doing 2 things. Hostings and playing golf. So hopefully you're gonna do better than me.
I mean, you're not wrong. If I don't beat you, I'll be really upset. I'll probably have to quit golf forever. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. Here we go.
It is your time.
It is my time.
Okay, that looks a little bit better than me, I have to say.
Yeah, the sword goes back in the sheath at 90%. Barney Banks absolutely bringing this one home. It's okay. You can focus more on golf. I'll focus more on football for now. But for now, Lauren and Lace, it's your time.
I hate football. All right, Barney, you had to show off those golfing skills. But for everybody currently watching, don't forget to join the Esports Foundation Creator Program. Register on the EWC website. It's pretty straightforward. There's going to be a QR code at some point. Make sure you scan it. Join up, earn reward, score points, and we might end up interviewing you on the final day. And that sounds pretty sweet. So make sure you join it. There you go. There's the QR code. Go scan it right now. Because one team that has been able to step it up in a big way, especially this last match, RRQ. RRQ. Conchita.
It's about time. Honestly, it's about time. And yeah, we still have 2 more games to go, right? So this is actually a good way for them to reset, to find that rhythm, to find that, I don't know, bond that they're finally showing. And again, like I said, Mal turned out to be the saving grace of the last game for RRQ, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Miles is one of those that at this point, I think even the pressure is not facing him anymore.
Yep.
Because there's so many times in the previous competition when he's going solo, he will just be going down that quickly. It did happen a few times from the earlier games, but now because he's the one who's bringing that energy to the table right now, I think there's a lot more that we can see from RRQ.
Please don't talk to me about RRQ.
Oh, no.
They heal lows. Girl.
No, honestly, Carol, I was concerned because I really thought that it was going to be another booyah for MIBR. I was like, enough!
It would have been the third one.
Yes,
Remember,
the third
at
one.
the
I know,
beginning
right?
of Group B, I asked, can anybody maybe mimic what Buriram? And we were saying it, honestly, in a joking manner. Because nobody expected to see what happened in Group A here in Group B. And Carol, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. The fact that that squad got so close, Brazil in Group B, they're looking good.
Oh my gosh, they are doing an amazing here at the EWC. And the funny thing is that during the grand finals in Brazil Free Fire World Series, Brazil, they were almost the champions. The thing is, the format, the champion point, didn't give they the opportunity to have their final booyah and go for the win.
I think
But
that's
they were the best team of the day.
I think that's why we're seeing them just go after those wins. They want to make sure that when they go to the finals, they're going to be ready to get those booyahs. Because right now, it's working out for that squad. One squad, honestly, consistency. We were talking about it earlier, and we're seeing it once again here, not only with the step up of RQ, not only with the performance of Brazil, Ali. Oh, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, one of the players of Al Ali has been reminding us why they are champions of their region. I mean, it's just like refreshing that we're seeing one team that is keeping the balance of both placement and elimination, and it's bringing themselves higher in the table. Hopefully, it's high enough to get to that top 4 because there's a lot who's taking the top 3 right now, and the lead is increasing.
Yeah, but one thing that I did realize post-match was that there was an obvious tension at the Al Ahly table. Maybe there was some sort of miscommunication. Maybe there was a couple of bad calls between the players. So that's something that they really got to watch out for because consistency, it has something to do, obviously, with chemistry. So we have still 2 games left today. And yeah, let's see how they handle the stress now.
It happens, right? You don't want to see teammates starting to maybe not go the same path in the first day. To save that for the last day. Actually, don't even save that for the last day because then that will be finals. But the overall ranking, Los right now over Fluxo, Twisted Minds as well has been forming great. RQ, as we mentioned, Al Ali, all these squads are doing great. But talking about some tension out there, we got the Fluxo fans behind us, and I know that there's some tension between those 2 Brazilian squads.
Definitely there is this competition between Fluxo and Los. It's like, how can I say, it's romance that never ends. Yes, because we got Iago. Iago used to play with Bobs, Jill, and MT7 right now plays with the Fluxo, right? With Butizin as well. And Iago used to be their sniper. And then after the Free Fire World Series back in 2023, Iago left the team. And right now they got MT7, which MT7 is the best sniper in Brazil. And probably that makes Iago so mad that right now Iago is stepping up here at EWC, and man, he's the best player today.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, Iago, when last time we saw them, he was just making highlights of his own. And, well, I would say even when MT7 stepped into Fluxo, he's also making them win those fights. So, I guess with Iago, MT7 rivalry, or let's say for the team rivalry, they will be very close in there in the battlefield. There's still a lot of storyline that can unfold out of this, but judging from the scores that they managed to maintain right here, even before we end this day for this Group B, like the lead is pretty much sure enough for MIBR loss. So I don't know what miracles will happen for the other teams who's trying to catch up, because imagine RQ guys, I know they just had RQ, they just had their Booyah, but they're still far away, like around 27 points.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty hard for them to catch up, and I cannot deny the fact that maybe today will be the day for the Brazilian team. So Carol, I think you can smile and be happy about that just today.
Is that good for you?
At least I'm admitting that today is really the day for MIBR loss as well as Fluxo. But then again, if we're talking about the rivalry, I'm not really sure. One thing for sure though, Taylor Swift should really write something about those two, MT7 and of course Iago. It is a love story, a complete love story of Free Fire.
Or maybe Arena Grande. Thank you, next.
Yeah.
They're trying to find out who's going to be big brother, who's going to be little brother. Iago definitely doesn't want to be little brother. I mean, we know his stature is going to be outside of this frame. From all these squads, I mentioned it earlier at the start of Group B, and we're just so close to it. I want to see where you guys stand on this. Does Los end up getting another Booyah and goes for that 3, or is Fluxo going to stop him? Carol?
Man, I think Los is stronger today, so probably I would say they would go for definitely for the 30 Booyah. And one thing very specific about Fluxo is like they got this nickname in Brazil, the boogeyman of indie game, because they only go for indie game. What they are doing here today, going for eliminations, get more points for eliminations, that's not something they used to do in Brazil, because we like to say they do like skinny Booyahs. Oh. Because it's Booyahs with not a lot of eliminations, you know? So it's surprising to see Fluxo have this kind of performance here today, but definitely Los look stronger.
Hey, I like that input. Now, quickly, Neptune, is it going to happen or is it not going to happen?
I don't know, because so far for Fluxo, they did manage to get to the top 2 without any Booyah, but if they can steal it away from MIBR loss and equalize it like 2-2 before the final, by the end of this day, then there's a lot of things that can happen at this point.
And Conchita, for you, I want a yes or no. Which one is it going to be?
I think I'm just here for the vibe. I'm happy with either of them. I'm just here for the drums, the music, and of course, I would be happy to see any Brazilian team take this.
Let's go. Well, let's see if it's going to happen. Husky, Lucifer, what do you guys think? Can Brazil, especially Los, can they get that 3rd win, 3rd Booyah, or no?
Well, I personally think yes. Vamos, go all the way. You know what? Screw the 3rd Booyah, get the 3rd and the 4th Booyah, right? Let's close it out. MIBR Los all the way. It's a day of celebration for Brazilian teams. Fluxo, MIBR Los, you name it. They are here to light up Group B. And now it is for every other team to prove that they are worthy of stepping up to the occasion and giving MIBR Los a worthy challenge.
I think Husky's mantra in the entire day so far has been vamos. He is just rooting for every Brazilian squad out there. But I think there's a mix that RRQ just brought in the previous game, game number 4. And that one reason tells me that there could be a change happening in this game of Kalahari. The open lands of the Sniper's Haven and Nest that they love to target on. In Yago, he's already been doing great, and maybe he opens up, but Maal, he's also finding his winning ways. Conchita and Neptune, they mentioned about it, so maybe RRQ, they get another booyah, back to back.
I mean, we've highlighted Yago for the entirety of the Group B matches, right?
Yeah.
Most damage dealt, most eliminations so far, 21 for him alone. And then they have, Haone has 15, so 36 eliminations shared between 2 of them. Well, guess what? Yago is on the map again. But for now, to be Total Gaming against Lion. Unfortunately, in the 1v3, Shanky stood a no chance. So 3 points for Lion.
Wait, what just happened? I mean, Al-Hali?
Was it lost? I think it was lost. It had to be.
Yeah, this is why, like, even they were mentioning on the desk, right, that, hey, that was a heated argument. There was something of a disagreement between the players, and this is what happens when emotions run high and you are not ready to kind of bring a reset. You instantly lose upon a good game that you are able to deliver. And now Al-Ali going out so early is a big surprise.
Yeah. And I think on top of that is also, perhaps even when you get the reset, you get a very unfavorable drop, right? They get wiped out by a team like MIBR. That has got to hurt, so that's double the damage on the mental side. And this is the different part, the secondary part of competition at the highest level, right? We're not just looking at skill, we're looking at the mental aspect, the psych. How do you kind of recover from a loss? And I think, at least in this case for Ali, they have plenty of time to talk about that.
But on the other end, Lion, while they did push a loss towards Total Gaming, now there's the Indian counterpart of SAQL. And they put the player down quickly. That's going to be Bunny acting on hacks and instantly confirming as well. So Lion, who thought that this position is completely clear, now there's another challenge. There's still one player here at Santa Catarina who is not yet giving his position away. That's going to be Games King, Gamez King. Can he change the fact, or does he call reinforcements here for Lion and look forward to something big? But something big that's done is going to be from Team Vitality's Koja. 4 eliminations already, and I think while we were talking about RRQ, while we've been talking about MIBR loss, I think Vitality need their end of a bargain chip where they can coin it and call themselves a 1 booyah game, at least for today.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they actually got out to a decent start, right? They took out 3 members of MIBR loss, who just got brought back, so that they did slow down one of the front runners of this lobby. But they themselves now on the receiving end of a couple of lead, courtesy of their own comrades from Indonesia, RRQ. And runs a newfound confidence from the previous game, right? Like, just able to lead him in the battle and kind of just reinforce the fact that he is one of the best. This is kind of what we always need from some of these newer players and their first appearance on the big stage, right? Just the fearlessness. And that's what Rans has brought. We're gonna check out here. We did say that MIBR loss basically decimated Ali, and it didn't even look close.
Yeah, we just dropped. We were about to shift from the flight path, and this is what happened. Hawk, he's still trying to hold it off, but just too many players from a MIBR loss, and now too many players even swarming Lion in this fight. They're trying their best, but they're unable to hold it off, and that's still a challenge coming in from SAQL. Yes, they've been dabbled a little bit of a damage, but they're able to hold themselves off. Hacks again will be confirmed. Jack picking off one more, and Joker, he is going to be the last player who also gets picked off. And SAQL Esports, off to a start that they needed to eliminate a whole squad. It finally happens for them here in Kalahari.
On a map that usually has a slower tempo, we lose 2 teams 4 minutes in. Again, the volatility of this lobby continues to rear its head. A hit list put out. Vitality onto GU. Team Secret, we will revive for now, but they won't have time to kind of get the plans together with Twisted Smiles dropping by. And Diamond is on the hunt. A couple of Team Secret players nearby. Diamond might get sandwiched by Exposy on the low ground. And Huang Nam getting tagged as well. Nan7 dropping down to join with the rest of his team. Twisted Minds actually keeping quite the distance as they call down the storm.
Whenever a fight between Twisted Minds as well as Team Secret happens, it doesn't go in anybody's direction. They end up having casualties, and eventually both of them get eliminated of the lobby. So I am a little wary about this action. Twisted Minds are actually gearing up, getting closer to Team Secret. The position is known. And especially for Team Secret, the trouble is they lose PLS1 and then there is a lot going wrong. But right now, PLS1 with the max 7 puts the bus down. He tried to make a jump and it doesn't work out. And now he changes his weapon to take players from afar, pushing the side of Twisted Minds back, and Diamond had to go to the vending machine, revive his players, but he's completely surrounded. He cannot do anything. However, he puts PLS1 down, but before going down himself, he gets a whack to PLS1 as a confirmation.
Yeah, greeded out a little bit. Would have been better to use that primary, but at the end of the day, still getting the job done, and at quite a hefty cost. Total Gaming, on the other hand, Shanky will need a bit of time to patch himself back up. We have Troll on the other side of the open field with him, S8UL having one of the better starts today. Same as TG, both with 5 eliminations. And in fact, with TG, they're a lot more spread out. Mafia taking some shots as well, but also doing some reconnaissance. Make sure that the rest of his team can follow him. There should be confirmation that Troll is nearby.
After their game number 1 and 2, I think finally we are seeing a little bit of a change in Total Gaming. They're picking up eliminations a little more proactive, they're looking a little more confident. A little mess up happened at Santa Catalina, but we can brush that away. It does happen to everybody in the initial drops, but they managed to recover. But S8UL, they managed to recover even bigger, and that's the reason they are not caring of who's in front of them. And yes, they don't know who is, but they will look forward to eliminations. They're a very elimination-hungry team, and so far they even pick up 1 player from Total Gaming.
I think proactiveness is the key word here, right? A lot of teams, if you play not to lose, you're eventually going to lose the teams that play to win. And it's going to be an oxymoron for majority of the time, but it has been a reality, and that's why, you know, winning these gunfights are eventually going to be the cornerstones of getting that booyah and maybe a trophy lift at the end of the journey. And the end of the tunnel right now for Team Vitality is that they are in the center of the circle, right? They have Bayfront, they take control, and a map like Kalahari, having Bayfront under your influence is actually a pretty good area to kind of park yourself under. What surprises me is that RQ didn't immediately go to Refinery.
Exactly.
Right, they're actually playing on the outskirts of that area.
Both Refinery and Command Post are almost looking empty. No teams are taking control of it. They're letting others try to get close by. Surprised to see that, but at least at Shrines, it seems like the fight keeps going on. MIB are lost. They thought this is going to be a stronghold, but right now Straw Hats having the position of the verticality, using the terrain advantage, they're trying to put them down. But General answers back, puts shots down, who is also being taken down. It's up to Extra and Nil, but they're afar. They're so on top about that they cannot be able to easily help their teammates out. But Nil at least trying to hold ground, and he's going to challenge Yago. He's been the man with the big rifle, the long barrel, and he delivers once again. Will not let MIBR loss fall down.
Not at all. And at the cost of no casualty, they should be able to retrieve Rigby in time before he bleeds out. So MIBR lost with 8 points under the belt, continues with a full squad. Aztec gets brought back for TG. Fluxo now under the storm, having to deal with the Mia Corp. West quite made a bit of noise in the previous game. Didn't make it until the end, but does draw some attention to them and reminded that they are also part of the competition here. But in Santa Catarina, it's going to be the hard one with the stronghold basically controlled by Fluxo. Especially Bobs here, who is going to take that move to join up with Butchers in. They could now go for the push.
Carol mentioned, right, they're the boogeyman, but they're a skinny boogeyman, if you would want to talk about. Are they going to get closer to that? Fluxo have always been a step in front of the race for a booyah, but they've never gotten closer to it. They've always missed those last opportunities, even if they have a man advantage. But right now, they are troubling Mia Corp. However, Kappa and Diplik, they put players from Fluxo down. They're turning the tides around. It's working out. They confirm players as well. Butson has to go on this 1v1 and win it out. MT7 on the other end. He is troubling S8UL. A little bit of a wayward approach coming in from Fluxo, but they're still able to hold off Mia Corp.
Yep, and it goes back to what Carol mentioned earlier on, that MT7 was regarded one of the best snipers from Brazil. Today still outperformed by Yago, but has some moments of brilliance, and that was one of it. Fluxo is beaten and battered, only half the roster remain, and S8UL shows up, Butchers in getting chased left, right, and center for to fight, but there was no way out of this one. Jack and Tro with a couple of eliminations on their own, and MT7, the star of the show, now sent packing. With a vending machine right in front of them, but with multiple members of Mia Corp gatekeeping that area.
The approach of taking two-pronged fights is always a problem. You end up sending your resources in 2 different directions, and if both of them fall, you are left completely alone. And that's what's happening here to MT7. Mia Corp on the other end, it was only Fluxo they had to fend off. They were able to. They got the player back up as well. So MT7 in a very varied position. He'll not be very comfortable in even going towards the vending machine. Kappa right below him. And he and his entire squad is relying for MT7 to get closer to the vending machine and get that revive. And he does. He gets Bobs. Kappa could have held the vending machine, but he doesn't now. MT7 has an opportunity, runs right to the weapon of Nix and having, come on, an SMG in such a close range, you can't do anything against a weapon that plays the sniper role.
Yeah, there was no way out of that one. I honestly thought that MT7 would just hold that spot and try to take a 1v1, right? So probably didn't have intel of where the second member of Mia Corp is, but at least the captain is brought back to lead the team, in person again on the field. Team Vitality with 5 eliminations and 4 of them from Koja. Yago able to sneak through, but that shot ringing through the eardrums of MIBR Laws. It's gonna give them a bit of intel of a secondary enemy nearby. And it's important information for MIBR Laws because they will have Twisted Minds to contend with in just a little bit, as the Indonesians now might clash. And the last time they met in Kalahari in EWC last year, it was Vitality that denied RQ of a trophy lift. Now it's gonna be some of that rematch. It feels like deja vu from a year ago.
Team Vitality, they've been getting closer to the titles but never been able to lift it off. And this could be an opportunity that they might have to write on their own. Yes, it is tough, especially in stages like this. At least when we had the last EWC season, it was 18 teams, but now the competition is even tougher. 24 teams, you are just put in one group, you have 12 games to play, and Team Vitality have still not picked up enough to get to the top 4. So the distance is more compared to RRQ. If you talk about it, RRQ are even further down because they messed up in their initial games.
Yeah. I mean, both teams have come second a couple of times, but RQ has been there more often. It's definitely a sour spot to be in. Mia Corp actually being in a pretty good position in confinement. There is the blue that they are baiting in right now, but we see the binoculars used on the southern end. Gets to just cut through the open field, but completely avoid Fluxo, who are on the lookout. This could put them in a spot. If they continue that rotation now, they could end up intercepting Team Secret or maybe S8UL.
I think a team to watch out, especially here in Kalahari, is S8UL Esports. They've been taking proactive fights, but this time now they're getting a challenge, and that's going to be Team Secret taking a jump. As the circle shifts dead center, all the teams are getting forced to be close to each other. 9 teams in total, 12 minutes so far in the game, 36 players still surviving. Fluxo have only 2 eliminations, but we spoke about this. Team Secret, they were the ones who tried to go in for a bang on a surprise, and TQ is able to deliver. He's trying to put the players down. He wants to look forward to another player from S8UL, but the glue wall blocks it. Jack will be able to recover the player, but can they find another knock? No! Jack and Noor say no to the players of Team Secret. Start confirming them one by one, and now Team Secret are in trouble.
Team Secret funneled to a choke point and entered the shooting gallery of S8UL. Bunny does get dropped, but S8UL have more members as Tro gets called in. It's a 3-4v2 PLS1 and none. Getting cut down, Tro sliced them in the ribbons. And S8UL with a hell of a performance on Kalahari, 13 points and counting.
That was big to hold off, and this is the reason I said here on Kalahari, watch for S8UL Esports, and they are now delivered. They slice and dice through Team Secrets, but now they have another challenge, is their own counterpart. That's Total Gaming. But seems like they're deciding to move in 2 different directions, and that is maybe the best for here in Kalahari. In the meantime, we spoke about it, RRQ, right? Their initial games did not work out, they messed up, but right now they've taken the lead on the overall ranking compared to Team Vitality. And Team Vitality, it feels like they've been holding far too long and not getting a lot of points, whereas RRQ, they've been delivering.
I mean, if you want to talk about a team that moves faster overall, it's always going to be RRQ, right?
Correct.
They sort of get the engines warm out slightly faster and a bit more consistent, whereas Team Vitality, it really comes down to what the weather feels like. It gotta be a sunny day if you want Team Vitality to put out some numbers. And so far, the sun still shines as Joe takes off Yago's head. But no confirmation on that just yet. The rest of MIBR lost now. And again, intel on multiple teams in front of him. And look at this bird's eye view. This is gonna be a nasty fight, waiting to implode on his own. Diamond even popping a shot onto Bunny, but again, no confirmation there for Twisted Minds.
Look at how the circle moves. It's just moving center to the entire big zone itself. It's never giving an opportunity for any team to take it as an advantage. And now still RRQ and Vitality are inside the circle, so they'll be happy about it. And look at them, they're holding the teams on the eastern end from getting closer, and that's going to be Mia Corp. Already at 12 eliminations, they want more, but all of them are getting stolen by Team Vitality. The deed is being done by RRQ, but the ones who are getting the elimination elimination is Team Vitality, along with MIBR loss.
Yeah, RQ work hard, but Vitality works smart in that exchange. And Miyako, rightfully so, written out of this game. I mean, Twisted Minds, this is a slower game for them, right? 4 eliminations and counting. You have Vitality on the second floor, and that glue wall is the separation that prevents chaos. And RRQ continues to put on the numbers, this time with help of MIBR loss, taking down the members of Fluxo. Total Gaming shows up, getting blasted mid-air as Aztag loses the exchange to Bunny, and Bunny will get his third.
Total Gaming, they don't have the zone. The zone's closing out. They don't have enough space to work with, whereas SHUL Esports, they've looked so confident in this very game. Fluxo, the last man standing, gets eliminated outside the zone, did not have anywhere to move. MT7 going out. The entire squad of Fluxo is done for. This is one of the first games where Fluxo do not make it to the top 4. This tells you of how cutthroat it's become right now as the zone's shrinking. Mafia also gets eliminated. Players from Total Gaming are falling, but SHUL, they're able to hold their own, and now they've gotten to the same building as RRQ.
We're talking about potential of dreams. Total Gaming came close in top 3. Now SAUL in the same position, 6 teams remaining, and they are ever so close to that first big step. Of course, for Total Gaming, they have lesser members to work with, so the odds are slightly lesser. Yago removed as well by a grenade from Twisted Minds. As Vitality, they're going to share the same building as Twisted Minds themselves, and now we see that clear separation. But guess what? Where the circle is moving, the Indian teams, they're going to have a good chance to rotate.
They have to be quick on it because Vitality, they're already troubling MIBR, lost from getting ahead. RRQ on the other end, they'll be able to spot SHUL Esports if they're quick in their run. But Twisted Minds, I really like how they're holding the compound. So Vitality, they might be in trouble in case they decide to step out because Twisted Minds, they're already ahead of the game. They're going to be the ones who will try and defend the entry. MIBR lost. The last is Survivors, General and Rigby. Can they do something different? Yes, they do. They take the roof approach, make a jump, but they do get damaged a tad bit. But SHUL, while they change the building from RRQ towards Vitality, the port maker being called, they have the challenge of the zone shifting. They have to quickly make a move.
Yeah, and for MIBR lost and Twisted Minds, they are going to be one of the cause dips on the center. Koja taking out dudes as well. In the meantime, SAUL, as much as they're slow on the roll this time with their rotation, but they did make the more passive choice to play from behind, and that could work in their favor as TG now bleeding now. Shanky no longer able to be rescued, and Water about to be constricted, suffocated by the blue. And the RRQ as well, removed from the equation. Rigby with the confirmation onto Water. We're almost down to the final 3 teams with MIBR lost, barely hanging on with 2 members left.
Yeah, somehow they jumped on the roof and they're still surviving. And thankfully, RRQ ended up becoming a target for everybody. Every team started shooting them down. Everybody got bits and pieces of RRQ in that fight to eliminate RRQ. But how this fight concludes is going to be very crucial. 17 seconds in the claw, and the entire zone is going to start shrinking in. No team wants to get out except for MIBR lost, but finally a challenge coming in from Vitality. General is down. Rigby is the last man standing. He doesn't have enough space. SHUL on the other end, they're moving further away.
And SAUL, Exposy actually caught Tro as well, and so is Jack. Vitality now joins in on the hunt, and SAUL might just meet an early demise here unless they can wrestle their way out of this. You have Diamond to take care of. He is alone, but he's an anchor for Twisted Minds, barricading himself with the glue wall, knocked down by Jack. And even for Rigby, he still wants a piece of the pie in case he ever gets removed. But SAUL, they held strong just for now.
I don't know how they did it, but they're able to for the time being. But the zone's about to close and they had to make an exit. Use the glue wall, but now it's a very small compound that they have control of. There's nothing else. Every other team is right in front of them who have a better position, a better compound. Even Rigby, who's the last man standing, has an entire compound, a window through see-through. Whereas Vitality now, it looks like they are the lords above. They're standing on the rooftops, having vision of everybody, and Sibang starts it. Bunny down, Troll down, confirmations following one through. Twisted Minds with Exposy picking up confirmations on SHUL Esports, bringing down to their knees. Jack going down, the last man standing. Vitality and Twisted Minds join hands together to take SHUL down.
Yep. Only Nor made it to safety, but Vitality knows exactly where it is. Twisted Minds wants to beat them to it though. It's still an extra point for themselves. The bar's on the low ground. It might have been a fatal error as Nor now books it with a baseball bat in hand and a glue wall to keep himself safe. This could be a distraction there. Vitality preoccupied by Twisted Minds. Nor now found out by Joe, but Joe will have to work for that if he so wishes to. But Vitality 4-man strong. We were looking for magic. We were looking for them to step up to the occasion. And this is that moment that Indonesia, they come in late, but better late than never, as the boss will be the only one that has a chance to take down Vitality. But the Hornets will not be denied. And Team Vitality brings themselves a booyah.
What a game coming in from Team Vitality. We were talking about it, right? While Brazil is taking all the initial games away, it seems like Southeast Asia finally finding their ways to victory, especially Indonesia. RRQ to follow now with Team Vitality. Brilliant game. I think even the rotation, the position they were holding in that final fight, as we saw, we spoke about MIBR loss, right? Then taking the rooftop. But unfortunately, they did not have the numbers. If they did have what Vitality did, looking like the giants about the Davidson, the Goliath fight that was happening, it could have been MIBR loss, but Vitality played it to perfection in that final fight.
And we even say that this feels like that deja vu from 2025 back in Riyadh, right? Where Vitality was the one that denied the trophy leap on Kalahari, which was a map that people usually look at RRQ, usually look at EVOS, and again, it's Kalahari that delivered them their first booyah in Paris.
Much needed. A lot of expectations on Team Vitality in general. Everybody is looking forward to it. We spoke about it. Asia Invitational, they took it away. That is one title, but they need the biggest of all titles. Esports World Cup 2026. They're here in Paris. They do not want to miss the opportunity. And finally, they've delivered. We were talking about the comparison between RRQ and Vitality. While Vitality were initially ahead of the race, RRQ picked up with their very own booyah. And now Vitality have gotten a step closer. We have to only take a look at the overall rankings, which will tell us, has Vitality beaten RRQ now?
Yeah, I mean, this is a trophy that is the only missing piece of from the BRU cabinet, right? But for everyone else, it is the first piece of what is going to be a complete puzzle of that golden road. And for the Hornets here, they've had quite the round. I mean, even you look at the faces of the Twisted Mind members, they know they've been bested. This was a game that was incredibly hard with how Team Vitality played out that final circle. When talk about the hint about the double sniper, and we saw that play out as well when they took care of SA Duel.
Very crucial. I mean, for SA Duel to hold their own in a position which is not great at all, that compound is very small. I mean, if anybody tries to hold their position there, they're bound to be taken on. Thankfully, maybe Vitality did not have launchers or anything, because yes, a lot of resources got expended there because multiple teams were present and a lot of fights took place. SA Duel also, you have to give it to them. They held their own in such a small spot, took down the player of Twisted Minds, and I think that was also the reason Twisted Minds did not have NS reinforcements going into that final fight with Vitality. If that reinforcement was there, maybe Twisted Minds could have gotten their own booyah.
Yeah, and with that being said, we are approaching the final round, but anything before the final round deserves a bit of a breather, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a bit with another Nixaro round.
Ain't no regular thing, came for the ring, you know what I mean. You see my name in the lights,